The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook, and always presented by our title sponsor, PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province of Alberta. I'm realizing quickly this was a terrible shirt choice to wear on camera. Doesn't look great. I'm not gonna lie. So have to make a note to myself that while this pattern looks fantastic in comfort in real life, it looks absolutely horrific on camera. So note to self. So my apologies to all of you watching at Oilers Nation YouTube and Facebook, streaming on Twitter and Instagram. Not my best choice. Didn't even clash my mind, to be honest. It's plus 30 degrees. I was like, what's comfortable? What's going to have the least amount of sweat? It's clearly it. So, although luckily I'm not a sweater. I know some people are sweaters. I don't walk around sweating, right? If I work out, sure, but not a big sweater. Guy who was sweating today is Terry Ryan. He's at charity golf tournament, and unlike the Chicklets, we're not going to put TR on the show for a segment when he's had a few. So he's getting the day off today. So he's actually he'll have some stories as he is golfing with Pete Mahovlich today, and says he's just say I'll get the text. I'll read exactly just so with Pete Mahovlich, wild scene. He's a classic. Today on the show, we have lots to discuss on the program today. So we are going to we're going to talk a little football. Eddie Steele and I, we're going to get a little bit of debate here. He's like, well, why does everybody want to see Trey Ford? Well, my question is, why not? I think it's misleading if you just look at passing yards to think that this offense this year is actually more effective than last year's the final 10 games under Trey Ford. I can tell you the net offense is virtually identical. Now, it's very different in how they went about it, right? Trey Ford averaged about 208 yards passing per game. He also only attempted 22 passes per game. Bethel Thompson is attempting 37. He's got 209. So actually, yard per catch, Trey Ford was better at 9.1 to Bethel Thompson at 8. The difference is the Elks offense between Ford, who averaged about 66 yards a game, but Kevin Brown was a threat. He had 800 rushing yards in the 10 games with Ford. So between the two of them, they were over 1,400. Now, that doesn't include Shannon Brooks, who got some rushing yards, not a lot, but he got some. Right? Obviously, and some of the short yardage where they use Cornelius, that doesn't count. That's fine. It's, little 7 yards here, 8 yards here, whatever. Yeah, it adds up, but it's not a huge difference maker. So this year, the offense, to me, is more predictable. Drop back in the pocket. That's what they're doing. I'm sure if you ask the old linemen, they'd probably like, hey, mix in a run. Maybe let's try to slow the defense down. And I'll ask Eddie, as a D lineman, when you have Trey Ford, whose completion percentage last year at 67.5 in his first season as a starter, was pretty good when you compare that everybody else, the top three guys, Caleros and them were all between 67 and 69. He was right there. It wasn't like he was completing 65% of his passes. Not at all. But they ran the ball infinitely more effectively with Ford. So to me, now I'm not a defensive player. Doesn't that keep you off on your heels a bit more? Knowing that, well, they might run it. They might run it with Brown. They might run it with Ford, or they might pass it. So we'll talk about that. Joe Haggerty will go to Boston as we continue our our summer previews. The Bruins, lots of changes again. Will they be better? They went out. They made some big swings. Well, basically, they said, hey, Vancouver, we'll take the two guys you traded for. Zadorov and Lindholm. Thanks. They did get rid of Jake DeBrusk, left in free agency. It's kind of like a trade, Lindholm for DeBrusk, in essence. Also, Linus Ullmark goes to Ottawa. Korpisalo comes in. Jeremy Swayman's got really good numbers. Will his numbers alter at all if he becomes the true number one and not a split situation. So we'll talk to Joe about that. We got Spec. Reed Maxwell will join us. How about this? The youngest member of Canada's swimming team for the Paralympics from St. Albert, 16 years of age. And he qualified and did really well. So we'll talk to him. What a thrill that's going to be. Hey, you're in high school. What did you imagine if you had that, your first day back from school? You don't obviously do it in high school. And you tell us what you write a little note about what you did in the summer. You come back to high school. Hey, what'd you do? We went here, hung out at the mini mart. Oh, Reed, what'd you do? I went to the Olympics. As a viewer, no, contestant. I was not contestant, an athlete. So that'll be fun. Also, Jason Wad will join us. We'll talk the Open Championships. Shane Lowry is in the clubhouse as the leader at 5 under. Daniel Brown right on his heels. He's 4 under. He's still on the course. He's got a few holes remaining. It was not a great day and this to me is a great example of how difficult golf can be. So you look at Bryson DeChambeau. He just won the last major. He shot a 5 over 76 today. Like, this guy was the best in the world for 4 days. And he won. And now the next major, 5 over par. Not ideal, right? By any stretch of the imagination. It's tough, man. Anybody out there who golfs, I think, could admit that golf can be the most humbling and frustrating sport out there. How about Rory McIlroy, who his last major didn't go great. Really, it went great for 69 holes? And then he missed 2 short putts on the 70th and the 72nd hole. Lost the tournament. Today, 7 over. Yowza. So unlikely, I would think, to make the cut. He's gonna have to get pretty hot. Because what is he tied for? It's 7 over as I'm scrolling through. That puts him tied for 132nd. Yeah. He's got a little bit of a ways to go to get in. Now, not crazy, but a little bit of ways to go. Adam Hadwin, Canadian, and Nick Taylor, both of them, they're tied for 84th at 4 over. So, not far out. Have a decent day tomorrow, and they can make the cut, which is obviously what the key is for anybody. Other Canadians, I'm looking for Corey Connors. Yeah, he's tied for 18. Corey Connors, you know what? That guy always finds a way to be competitive early. Can he maintain it? That's going to be his question. He's at even par with a boatload of guys tied for 18th because Jesper Svensson is then 1 over and he's 31st. So there you go. We'll talk about that with Wiwad on the show today. Also, we'll have Livingston. Man, there's lots going on. Did you see somebody is walking away from F1? Basically, in his quote, is looking at other opportunities. Seems like those guys are having fun. So it sounds like this driver not having a lot of fun. So a team that I think has had surprisingly good results this year. Now both of their drivers won't be back for next season. So we'll talk about that. As always, we'll get your thoughts. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. We got a lot of texts flying in already. Do want to mention, I know we had talked about this before, and ESPN had their top 100 athletes of the 2000s. And I'm sorry, the minute it came out and you had Connor McDavid 98th, I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. Look at Connor McDavid's first 9 seasons of his career. So in his first 9 seasons, he's been the scoring leader 5 times. He's won 4 Ted Lindsays for the most outstanding player. He's won 3 Hearts for the most valuable player. He's won a Rocket Richard for most goals. And he's won a Conn Smythe trophy for most valuable player in the postseason. 14 trophies. Major significant trophies. Now, compare that to Sidney Crosby's first 9 years. He had 3 Ted Lindsays, 2 Harts, 1 Rocket, 2 Art Ross. He did get the Messier trophy, which is, whatever. I'm not sure how much stock you can put in that. Crosby in his first 9 seasons averaged 1.4 points per game. McDavid was 1.52. McDavid is plus 149. Crosby plus 129. Now he missed some games, so probably would be up there around the same. So Crosby's ranked. Now I know they look at his whole career fine. And obviously now Crosby won a Game 7 to win a Stanley Cup. McDavid lost a Game 7 to win a Stanley Cup. Does that one game really alter their career that much? So one guy is 98th and one guy is 22nd. Like, come on. It's, you could look at their top 10. Michael Phelps is 1, Serena Williams is 2, Lionel Messi's 3, LeBron James is 4, Brady's 5, Federer 6, Simone Biles 7th, Tiger Woods 8th, Usain Bolt 9th, Kobe Bryant 10th. Now, Usain Bolt was an interesting one to me because like Phelps was obviously great, no question about it. It's a different sport in the sense that, you can win a 50, you can win a 100, obviously you can win a 200, and you do it in different disciplines for sure. Usain Bolt, 100 meter, 200 meter champion. He's, multiple times, of course, obviously the 4x100. Now, what if they had a 4x200? What if they had a 4x50? What if they had a 50 meter? Like, if there was more track events for him to run in that short distance, he would have won them. That guy's a freak. Absolute freak. And I could see how some people would argue that Simone Biles might be even more dominant if we're comparing Olympic athletes in individual sports than Phelps because of just she never lost. She won all the time. All the time. So, but you know what? I don't really have a problem with the top ones. Really no issue. You want to rank them. You pick somebody who's 1 and the other burns 2. I get it. Not a big deal. But Connor McDavid being 98th, like I could go through the list of players and it's comical to me that he's 98th. Like comical. How many other players are considered 9 years into their career, top 5 of all time in their sport? The ones who are, they're all in the top 10. But then McDavid's 98th. Like it makes absolutely no. And that one, like there's mistakes, but then there's egregious mistakes. And that's like, it's so ridiculous. Makes no sense. None. Hey, Gregor, one guy has 3 cups. Well, yeah, his career's longer. In his first 9 years, Crosby had 1 cup. McDavid has none. Like I said, one guy won Game 7, one guy lost Game 7. Do you think the Stanley Cup is that much more valuable because of one game result? Honestly. Right? Teams win cups, never individuals. You lose a Game 7, you win a Game 7. They're going to make it that much of a difference? That you're going to be 22 on the list and 98 on the list? Come on, Pat. I'm sorry, man. I do not agree at all. And again, that doesn't ruin the whole list. It just illustrates to me the ignorance and the lack of respect that ESPN people have for the sport of hockey. And, you claim that you're a partner of the league and then you do stuff like that. It's, there's Crosby, Ovechkin, and McDavid were the only hockey players on the list. It's fine. There's lots of sports, right? Christine Sinclair, if you want to talk about it now, she's Canadian. So I'm not oblivious to ESPN being in America. We all know Americans, their desperate need for patriotism. Some days it's really good. Some days it's rather ugly, to say the least. And it's not surprising to me that the top 2 athletes were both American. Right now, Sidney Crosby plays in an American city. So does Ovechkin. McDavid is a Canadian player playing in a Canadian team where ESPN, not that big. So I get it. It's not a surprise, but then don't make lists if you're going to pander to those sorts of things. So it's, and hey, you want to make a list? Great. You'll be criticized and be applauded for it. But when there's something that's that ridiculously wrong, it's to me, it's laughable. That's all. It is, it's laughable. Lots of the other names, like They have Tim Duncan rated one spot higher than Shaquille O'Neal. Probably could have a good debate over that. Right? Pat Mahomes is the, I think, second football player. He is 18th behind Tom Brady, who is 5th. And hey, like it's hard for anybody to be ahead of Brady in football. I get it, right? Like, makes sense. Had a pretty damn good career. Now, Mahomes' career isn't over yet, so things could change when he's done. And I'm sure McDavid will, if they did a list again, he'd probably move up the list. It's just his career is, I don't even know if it's halfway over because he'll probably play 20 years at least, I would think. When you look at athletes nowadays, he's playing till he's 38 years of age. I don't think we'd be surprised. So he's not even really at halfway point of his career yet. And he's already been a 5-time Art Ross winner, 4-time Ted Lindsay, 3-time Hart Trophy winner, won a goal scoring. So he can show, hey, I can win points. I can be a goal scorer, be a Conn Smythe. He's had a pretty good career. Pretty good career so far. 833-401-1440. So what you're saying is we've missed out on a cup or two already for McDavid? No, not really. Well, this year for sure, right? Like you get to game 7, you can say legitimately the Oilers had a great chance. They had a 50-50 chance at that point to win the Stanley Cup. So did they miss out on it? It's a good question. Obviously, they would say they did because they got it. They got as close as you can possibly get without winning. You lose by 1 goal. I guess the only way you can get closer is losing by 1 goal in overtime. I guess that would technically be the only way you get closer. So I don't know if I look at it as a lost opportunity because, man, they gained a lot of experience. It was an unbelievable run for the city. Fans, how much fun did you have right up until the end of that game? Because, the Oilers in the third period, they're pressing. You know what? They had some chances. You were right on the edge of your seat. You couldn't have asked for a more exciting run. Obviously, the final 20 seconds, you didn't like. The rest of the run, you're like, this is amazing. This is great. How fun is it? So, there you go. When we return, we'll talk about the Elks. Hey, speaking of a run, maybe just try to win one. So, we got the roster for tomorrow, and no lineup changes at quarterback, which I didn't expect. Defensively, not great news on the D line. We'll get to that and more when we return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, it's Brad McCory here from St. Albert Dodge. I'm here to say you do not want to miss our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks. It really is your last chance to drive a brand new Ram truck off the lot with 25% off. When these are gone, they're gone. Or how about a Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 in savings and 0% financing on every model? Come see how we earn our industry-leading 4.6 Google review rating. You're going to love how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Mr. Rooter sends his daughter to university.
You're sure you don't want to go to plumbing school?
No, Dad. I want to be a civil engineer so I can plan the sewers.
What a dreamer. I have a surprise. Your dad, Mr. Rooter, is going to pay your tuition.
Oh, my gosh. Really?
Here you go.
Oh, coins. Why are they so dirty?
Well, it's every coin I ever snaked out of a toilet. You're welcome, sweetheart.
Ugh. For an A-plus plumbing experience, call Mr. Rooter.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Think of us as the opening act for Kevin Carius. This is Jonas Knox from Fox Sports. Join me, Brady Quinn, and LeVar Arrington weekday mornings from 4 to 7. It's 2 pros and a cup of Joe right here on Sports 1440.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks Fan Park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So, pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave. a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces Dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping Dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Loads of text coming in, 833-401-1440, in our E-Well inbox, 833-401-1440. If you were up late last night or early this morning, you were watching the Open Championships, which is just wrapping up. It's, that's like a good, from the first guys on the course to the last, like 15 hours. Long day. Man, you're a golf fan. That's a big commitment. Big commitment. Let's get to the football report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments. No interest for 1 year in your AC unit because you're hot right now. You're not liking it, especially if you don't have a basement. You're in a house, you want AC? Call Legacy. They can help you cool down. As, of course, former CFLer, and he is the regular bi-weekly co-host, twice a week co-host now with Kevin Karras. Eddie Steele joins us. Eddie, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well, Gregor. I got to say it pains me having had some hardware up on the wall there in Commonwealth, the last Grey Cup, being an alumni, that this is where we've come. This is so bad that this is how far negatively we've come. And the reality is the reality. And let's talk about some quarterback play, man.
Yeah, well, so I know, people, and I agree, hey, they could change the quarterback. It's not going to fix the defense. So it's two separate issues. But as a defensive player, so I went look through Trey Ford's 10 starts at the end of last year, where they went 4-6. And he averaged 209 passing yards per game. He also threw 12 touchdowns, 6 picks. So 2-to-1 TD to interception ratio. Not bad for a rookie. He also rushed for 66 yards, but the team rushed because Kevin Brown had 800 rushing yards himself, and that doesn't include Shannon Brooks and others. So they averaged about 150 rushing yards per game. So they were around, if you add the two, rushing and passing, net yards was 359. This year it's basically the same. It's 365 with Bethel Thompson, but they're passing way more. Ford attempted 22 passes a game. They're doing 37. As a defensive lineman, how much easier is it when you know the other team's running game is virtually non-existent?
Yeah, to a degree it's easier, but on the other side, the flip side of the coin is it's very easy to game plan for an inexperienced quarterback who you can get running around with his like a chicken with his head cut off. And, I would as a defensive player, play against a quarterback like Trey Ford as opposed to a veteran who is going to get the ball and usually get it off pretty quickly and get it out on time to the proper receiver. I did a little bit of digging on some numbers as well because I love the numbers just like you. And through Trey Ford's 4 starts last year, the offense averaged 28.75 points in the 4 wins last year. 28.75 points in the wins. In the defense led up 26 points. Now, the last 4 games this year for the Elks, just the last 4 games, that's all I'm taking from. The team has averaged 27.75 points on offense, so 1 full point less than Trey Ford's wins last year. But the defense is giving up 30.75 points a game. That's almost 5 points more than what the defense gave up in Trey Ford's wins last year. That's almost 2 possessions per game. And now the Elks have lost the last 3 games on a last-second field goal, which is a 1 possession. So, in fact, the offense is doing just fine. McLeod Bethel-Thompson is doing exactly what you brought him in here to do, and that's to be consistent. The defense is what the issue is. And if you really want to look at it, who has the ball when they're kicking the ball, the field goal last, when they're going for a last-second field goal? The other team's offense, who is marching it and putting themselves in a successful position to have that opportunity to win the game on a field goal.
When I look at the offense and you say being consistent, but he's thrown 5 picks, and Bethel Thompson in his career has 74 touchdowns and 59 interceptions. Like, he's always been a guy prone to interceptions. Like, he's thrown 5 picks in 5 games. Ford had 6 and 10. How much? Where do you factor in turnovers?
Absolutely, yeah, that's well said. Turnovers, that's not good. You don't never want to have the turnovers. When I say the word consistency, last year, in the past 2 years with Trey Ford and Taylor Cornelius, everybody, when they would drop back to pass the ball, you would just be holding your breath, hoping for a first down completion. If it wasn't a first down completion, Trey would be running around for his life and then hopefully complete a pass. That's not traditional football where you just, as a defensive player, you know you're going to get a quarterback who's going to have sustainable drives to be able to give you the rest. And you know what I mean? The rest is everything for a defensive player. When you have a quarterback who's consistently going 2 and out, and based off what I saw last year, the offense was going 2 and out quite a bit, even with Trey at the helm. Sure, there was a few more sparks and flashes because he had the mobility. But at the end of the day, he wasn't putting sustainable drives together for the defense to get adequate rest on the sidelines. And then when we talk about Trey, and because I know Chris Jones brought this up on your show last week, I got to ask the question, why is Dakota Prukop running the Wildcat packages? And the answer is because Trey didn't want to be a gadget quarterback. What's unique about that, you heard it from Chris Jones. I heard it a week prior. I was on the golf course with a former teammate, Grey Cup champ with me, a brother who played on the D-line, and it's not Armando Sewell, who is a guest coach on the team. We were golfing, and I asked the exact same thing, what's going on? And he corroborated the exact story that Chris Jones said on your show, which made me believe that this guy was refusing to get reps out there. So as a former player, a Grey Cup champ, a Vanier Cup champ, a captain on every team that I've played on, a selfless position I played at defensive tackle, I have to wonder, why is he refusing playing time? That, to me, there's a greater issue there, because you should be jumping at the opportunity to get out there. If you get out there and have some success, then the coaches have no other option but to play you even more. But to refuse to get out there, you're a coach, Jason. How would that make you feel as a coach if you had a player say that?
Yeah, that was the one thing that was obviously a little bit of a red flag to me. I'm trying to remember at any point a quarterback who's like, and hey, I get if you don't want to go into, he's like, he doesn't want to take. Now, part of it's like, lots of teams have their like a specialized short string guy, right? He just takes short yardage plays, and that's fine. I've always argued, you know what? Could you have put Ford in? Like, first of all, you're allowed 2 quarterbacks on the field now, Eddie. That's a brand new rule in the league, and no one's taken advantage of it. And I'm like,
use it.
I'm like, why don't you try to use it? I don't care. It's like, Trey Ford, are we paying you? Yeah, we're paying you. So we're going to run this package. Sometimes we're going to throw. We want you to throw every time, but you have the ability to scramble, which every defensive player I've ever talked to, when you have a quarterback who can outrun you, and you have a quarterback who now you got to be a little bit more reserved. You got to make sure you maintain the outside. So that allows your running attack. Like, I look at the Elks running game. It's non-existent right now. It's non-existent. And so the other team, even though we can talk about how the Elks, oh, you know what, Bethel Thompson, you got a better chance of completing pass. Okay. But you got no chance of running the ball because the defense never has to worry about the threat. And when they had Trey Ford, his running and scrambling ability opened up the running attack. And we saw it last year because it's not like the O-line this year is way better than the O-line they had last year.
No, you're absolutely right. And, I've been thinking all morning just about this situation in general and like how we got here. And to a degree, I've softened my stance a little bit about Trey because, we don't know what he is out there because he hasn't played yet. He could be a way better quarterback than he was last year. We don't know that. But the reality is, if you're not willing to get out there, and I'm not looking to come down on Trey at all. Like this is just the facts of the situation at hand. And I know for certain, when you're a defensive player playing that style of quarterback, it opens up the running game for sure. It does open up the running game, but you're not as worried about the pass. You're truly not as worried about the pass. And, I've been thinking about how you could, hockey is great in this market, and you have so many wonderful, knowledgeable hockey listeners. And I'm just going to throw this by you. To me, the way I look at this in hockey terms is you have a great talent that you're trying to get on the power play, but essentially he's saying no because I'm not the first line center. How do you go about getting that talent on the field? And for me, I see so many people say, oh, well, he should be PO'd that they signed McLeod Bethel Thompson in the offseason. Man, you can miss me with all that. This is pro football. You're here to compete. If he came into camp and competed, the coaches would have no other option but to get him on the field. And Jason, I have had literally over my years hundreds and hundreds of guys in the locker room, same position, trying to take my position. I have a bad game one week. There was 4 defensive linemen the next day there trying to take my job. So you can miss me with all this. He should be PO'd. This is football, man. And if you're declining opportunity to get out there and perform, there's bigger issues at hand. And that's really hard for me to get over in terms of being a team player, because this is the ultimate team game. And it's bigger than one man, bigger than one guy's ego who might have some hurt feelings. And if you're refusing, you're doing a disservice to yourself and the team.
Eddie Steele joins us. I think a lot. I wonder how much of this was Ford and Jones, because from the day they drafted him, Chris Jones, I remember their first camp, he wanted Ford to play a different position. From day one, it's like, well, why draft a guy as a quarterback and then suddenly try to tell him, hey, we want you to be a running back? I get it. If you're a quarterback, it'd be like, hey, Eddie, you're a line. Guess what? We're going to have you go play DB. What? I don't think so. Right? Like there's.
Or how about this? Hey, Eddie, you're a D tackle. Why don't you play right guard?
Yeah.
I shut my mouth and I did it. And we won a Grey Cup that year.
Yeah, you did it for a short period of time, yes. But you're also used to the collisions, right? Like if you're a quarterback and you come in as a rookie and they play as a runner right away, your chances of being a quarterback diminish quite a bit.
Totally. You're right. And look, people say they obviously didn't vibe, him and Jones.
No chance.
They didn't. But to say that Chris Jones didn't like him, man, the guy used the first overall CFL draft pick, which is usually pretty coveted, and he went the non-traditional Prairie offensive lineman route and drafted a quarterback. So he must have seen something there. But this relationship went off the ropes, and hopefully there can be reparations. And, I agree, Trey is exciting. You got to get this type of talent on the field. But maybe I'm just too old school and I got to get past my way of thinking. And I'm a D tackle, a guy who ate double teams, so selfless. I don't care about stats, man. Stats are irrelevant when it comes to football and when it comes to winning championships. I can tell you that firsthand. We had a lights out defense in 2014. All of us had huge stats. You know what? In 2015, each and every one of our players regressed in stats. But as a team, we were better. So, that I look at it as a team perspective instead of just the stats, and got to get him on the field. But there's some other issues that in relationship that need to be repaired there.
Now, as a defensive player, you must cringe watching the current defense. That like last game against Ottawa, Eddie, might have been the least amount of pressure I can recall a defensive line having from the start of the game until the end of the game. Like I thought there was maybe one time, where Drew Brown, it was a linebacker who sacked him, not even the D lineman. Like, I don't understand. Like, do they have that lacking in talent, Or why do you find that suddenly Chris Jones, who was you played under him, like it was always attack, and this defense suddenly was not attacking. They barely had any blitz packages against Ottawa.
Yeah, I'm really glad you said that, because so much of the focus is on Drew Brown torching them for 480 yards, and that's a reflection of the DBs and the secondary play. But you get to that point because you let him throw that ball and you're giving him the time. Overall, as a unit, this defensive line has not been up to par. They have not set the tone. Of course, I know they're missing Jamin, and that they were looking to him to be a big anchor and whatnot, but it's just not there. And at the end of the day, these guys got to grow up. I think they're a younger unit, and they need to develop rapidly here. And their defensive line coach, I know there was some issues there. Almondo, he was an assistant coach this whole season. The head guy, I don't think he was quite up to snuff there. So he's no longer around. Almondo now has a full-time role, and I think that we will see improvement with the defensive line here moving forward. But up until this point, it's been, in all honesty, embarrassing the way that this defensive line is played. Normally, in the past, over the years, and you would know this, man, the defensive line is a tone setter in this on this team, and that hasn't been the case at all.
Well, no, you got Almondo Sewell, who now takes over. Now, he's freshly removed, Eddie, from it, and I know that their D-line coach resigned, which is odd. Like, obviously, he was a Chris Jones guy, I'm guessing, but maybe they had a different viewpoint with him and Jarius Jackson. I don't know, but what do you think, Sewell? What's the benefit of coming right out from retirement to be a coach, and what's going to be his biggest challenge?
Yeah, I was asking him that because me and Almondo, we're really tight. We've been brothers ever since we strapped it up next to each other. And, one of the biggest benefits to make the transition easy is, the league, everybody, it's so fresh, right? You just played and won a Grey Cup last year. So it's all so fresh. One of the challenges I always thought would be, again, it's so fresh. So there's not that separation of player and coach really yet. You don't have the time that's passed. So are you going to have that respect of the guys? Yes, he will, just because he's been there and done that and been the best at his position for a decade. But it is still a certain different level of respect and authority coming from a coach who's maybe a little more older and whatnot. But I'll say this now too, Jason, and we're going to have Almondo on the show tomorrow morning, I believe. I know for a fact the man hasn't filed his retirement papers, so it would be real interesting to see what happens down the road, man. All I know is all the former brothers that played that we all keep in touch. None of us would be shocked if he puts those pads on again down the road.
Oh man, that would be player coach, the old Reg Dunlop of defensive linemen. Could you do it? Do you think?
No, I don't think you could do it. I don't think you could do it, but you could easily have an assistant and he could go back to playing D-line. That's for sure.
Now, I know he's all like the guy goes to the gym like most of us go to the store. It's like a regular part of his routine. Where's his game shape at?
Yeah, he was always in good shape, but his conditioning never really matched his strength. So yeah, he probably doesn't got the game shape anymore. That's for sure. But man, I hear you talk about his strength. I've never experienced anything like it. I was always a strong guy. I was so strong that the opposition lineman, their nickname for me was Steroid Steele, and never touched steroids. Never. I was a grinder, man. I was a worker. And Almondo made my strength look just minuscule. I've never met a human that strong.
Dude, I remember I did a story on him, and he invited me to come to the gym to watch him lift weights. And like, I've seen some strong guys before, but just the amount of weight that he would put on, like I remember watching him do his warm-up bench press. Like we walk in, we're talking, okay, yeah, I'm going to warm. And he does 225 for warm-up. Like most guys, like that's
nothing.
That's the benchmark that they use in NFL and CFL combines to see how many times you can do it, right? Like it's heavy. I would say the average person, 98, 99% of people can't bench press 225.
Can't even get it up.
Like couldn't, and definitely couldn't do it more than 2 or 3 times for sure.
My personal best ever, 52 times.
52. And then that's actually pretty damn good. Almondo, like he would bench and then he would squat and his his bench press wasn't it over 700 or
yeah, it was great. There was one off season I stayed here and I trained with him, and it got to the point like I couldn't even go and train with him because my joints were just getting all jammed up and sore because of the weights I was trying to throw around with him.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, man.
Yeah. Like what was the most you ever benched? Like one rep?
Most of ever, probably just shy of 500.
Yeah. Which is still a lot.
And that's strong, but yeah, he would easily get up over 6.
Yeah.
I was really good at repping things out though. Like, 225, 52 is my best. I could do 3 plates, so 315. 345s aside. My best ever, that was 17 times. I could do 275, so that's 2 plates and a 25 on each side. I got like 26 times at that. So I could always rep out weight pretty good.
Yeah, and really when you like obviously the one single push, it just shows how strong you are. And the
brute strength.
The rep is more about your ability to maintain, power for a longer period of time, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And then that fatigue, right? Once that lactic starts coming and yeah, it's different than just trying to muscle up one straight rep.
Now, what about those chicken legs? Could you squat?
Oh, yeah. Come on, man. The legs, like I said, I eat double teams for a living, Gregor. That all comes from the booty. But with that being said, a fella had 3 knee surgeries throughout his playing career. So that changes the way you work. But absolutely, man. You can't forget the legs. And to this day, I work out 6 times a week. Legs, I probably do at least 2 to 3 times.
Do you have a favorite leg workout?
No, the hard stuff, the stuff that I hate actually, like Bulgarian
split squats,
lunges. Yes, split squat with the back leg up.
Worst.
I hate it.
Yeah,
but you got to get comfortable doing the stuff you hate. That's how you get better.
Yeah, no, that's. What did you find for football training? What was the best one that helped you as a football player when it came to lower body?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a really good one. Probably, lower body. Probably, now that I really think about it, it probably would be squats. Squats supersetted with box jumps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like a combo of those types. In my prime of my career, the workouts got really intense, really funky. And, we would do a lot of just not ordinary things, and squats into box jumps into all types of different athletic movements, stuff like that probably was the most beneficial. Deadlifts too, man. You got to have a strong low back because your core, everything starts from the core out. You got to have a strong core and then move forward from there.
Eddie, great stuff, man. We'll look forward to you in El Mondo tomorrow morning with Carius.
All right. Thanks, Gregor. Take care, man.
There you go. That's Eddie Steele. You can listen to him every Monday and Friday on the Kevin Carius Show. And 52, 225 pounds bench press. I remember when I was at the peak of my training, I did 225 twice. And I had to build up to that with Woods for like a year. Now, I'm not, I don't have a big, thick upper body and I have too long of arms, but still, and I was like, oh my God, I can't imagine 52 times. That is like freakish strong, right? Obviously, got to have a big chest. It does help. Like Amano Seawell's even said, he's got shorter arms. So, you're shorter distance to go. That is a benefit, but still 52 times for Eddie at 225. My God, that is nuts. And then what did he say? He did like 325, 17 times. No chance. Can't even do 275. Can do 250 once. Ridiculous. We'll come back. The Open Championship. An unexpected leader atop the board. We'll come back, talk about that on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at cantorque.com.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fan. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Everyone loves summer, but it's hard to enjoy fun in the sun when you're exhausted. Tossing and turning all night long, one can't sleep when you overheat. So cool things down with a new Goodman air conditioner, installed by the pros from Weiss Johnson. Your family will enjoy comfortable slumbers for years to come with a Goodman air conditioner in your home. Weiss Johnson, serving Edmonton and area since 1977. Visit wjcools.com today.
Championship Report brought to you by Action Electrical. And hey, when you think major business when it comes to electrical needs, it's Action Electrical. Whether you need electrical preventative maintenance, you need solar for your home or residence, or even refrigeration. They do it all at actionelectrical.net. As we're talking a little golf, Jason Wad, head pro at Cattail Crossing, joins us once again. Jay, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Gregor. How are you?
I'm excellent. I was boning up on the leader Daniel Brown, who is 6 under, shot a 6 under today. He's won once on the European Tour, and then twice back in 2018 on a lower tour. And man, as I know you're a golfer, I don't care what happens the rest of the tournament. For one day to lead a major, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And sometimes. I'll be honest, as we prepare, as we play, you get lucky in certain things. But when you look at this golf tournament and the decisions that you have to make, it's really a tournament of risk management. And when you can get locked in and dialed in like he is today and some of the other guys, it looks easy. And then on the flip side of that, you go watch some of these other guys that excel often, just struggle. with that course management and just a little bit of unluckiness into a pop bunker here or there, and that can be your day.
Oh, well, it's obviously such a mental one, right? And I think we saw it in the last major with Rory when he misses one short putt, and then it's in his kitchen, and 2 holes later he misses another one, and it costs him his first major. He hasn't won a major in 10 years, and my goodness, he might never win again. Like you never know. So it is even the best players, and it's funny. It shows DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy were head to head in the last major, and today they're 7-5 over. Like it's very forgiving that from major to major, the best guys can really. Now I know the course is a very different course, right? What do you make of the course play out? And why does some guys' game just match way better on a links course?
Yeah, you know what? It's like I say, it's about placement. It's about, it's funny. I did a lot of kind of studying and looking at this golf course, watching a whole bunch of YouTube. I watched a Rick Shields video where he's just a regular PGA guy, and he started out 3 under through 5 holes. And to watch even that, it was on these longer par 4s, like, a 4-iron they're hitting off the tee. And just being able to manage your way around the course, make good decisions, keep the ball in play. And I think what you're seeing today is a lot of those players. Just watch the first 4 or 5 holes is where a lot of their scorecards kind of went to die. On 2, on 4, and 5. I know that 5 is, or I think 5 or 6 is that 630-yard par 5 that you almost have to play as like a 6 shot. But it's funny to see. Not funny, but very obvious to see the guys that can control the ball and put it in good spots. Like Justin Thomas had a great day. One of the better iron players around, to see them succeed. And that's a great thing about golf is there's so much variance in terms of the course that we play, from a links course to many different types of other courses. So
is there one that you think is better for golf? Like the type of course?
Oh, yeah, you know what? I don't think so. I love the difference, and every week there's a different challenge for these guys. With how good they are,
yeah,
you need to have that. You know what I mean? Like, it's nice to see, not nice to see, I'm a huge Bryson fan, but it's nice to see him struggle. Not struggle, but have to work his way through this, because it only makes him a better golfer in the long run. And he's very kind of scientific and very detailed in his approach. And I guarantee you tomorrow's going to be a little bit different of a story for Bryson. And probably a lot of the guys, and you'll see this leaderboard change quite a bit. So.
When you watch Corey Connor's game, like consistently that guy on Thursday and Friday in majors, like he's around, right? And then he struggled later historically, especially on Sundays at times at the majors. Is that just a mental thing, do you think, for him? Like why is he historically being a lot better early in majors and he just can't carry it into the weekend?
Yeah, you know what? I think it is. As the pressure gets a little bit more, we all handle it in different ways. And I'll be honest with Corey Connors as a young guy. I know he's been around for a couple of years, but he's still learning how to deal with that pressure. When all these people were hard on Rory, as someone who plays in tournament golf, don't knock him until you try it. And I know he made 456 consecutive putts from the distance he missed it.
That's crazy.
But it's still part of the game. That's the stats, right? So,
Yeah.
But those are things. It's about, and these guys are all pretty gritty. They have a passion for the game, and they love to persevere. And so all they do is they learn more about themselves, and that's when they take that step. It's like in any other sport. Florida's got to lose before they're going to win. The Oilers have got to lose before they're going to win. And it's the same for someone like Corey Connors as he charts his way onto the PGA Tour. He's playing loose in the first couple rounds, and then the stakes get a little more, and you got to learn how to win in those situations too.
Head pro Cattail Crossing, Jason Wad joins us with this heat wave coming. I know you guys, obviously there's tons of water out there, but how challenging is it to ensure that everything just doesn't bake and dry out on a course with 6-7 consecutive days of 30 degrees?
It's actually funny you asked that. We had a tournament and I had to rotate some carts. I had to come in at like 2:00 in the morning. just to move some carts around and charge some other carts. And all of a sudden I start getting sprayed by all these sprinklers and stuff like that. And that's our guys driving around, making sure that they're getting enough water on the course. And so, that's the work that goes into it. When you're working on a golf course like that, late nights, early mornings, to make sure that we get that. And then, just a couple other things with, putting out some ropes and some places to where we want to keep our cart traffic so that we can care for those fairways as we go through. So
how's the Operation 36 going for the kids? Because I know you can still sign up for August, correct?
Yes, absolutely. You can sign up anytime that you want. It's going really well. Kids are just learning. I'm actually just out right now working with some of our kids that are playing, on the Maple Leaf Junior Golf Tour and the McLennan Ross Tour. And they were ones that started 4 or 5 years ago in Operation 36. And it's so great to see the short game, the putting, the things that Operation 36 does in terms of a development progression in their game. So it's just been going so well. The program is so well created for us as coaches and for the students as well. We also have our junior summer camps that are running Monday to Wednesday, 9 a.m. to noon, so people can get involved in that as well.
You mentioned these young tours for the players, and like I look at golf, and I find what it really can teach you is you can't get rattled in golf, right? Like in hockey, you know what? Maybe you miss a pass. It doesn't seem to stay with you as much. Now, maybe you serve a pizza right up the middle with a minute to go, maybe. But, let's say, an errant pass in the first period or whatever, it doesn't seem to impact you. Whereas in golf, you slice one off the tee or, you chunk an iron and you got to get back at it right away. Whereas in hockey, you might not touch the puck for 3 or 4 minutes, right? Like, do you find that golf, should other athletes play golf, not necessarily be great at it, just to learn to deal with maintaining and controlling your emotions?
100%. I don't think there's a better sport around that allows you to build those mental skills, the mental skill of control, perseverance, grit, focus. You said it best. If you're a forward and you get beat, oh, well, there's still 4 guys on the ice and your goaltender. But if you're out there and you hit a ball into the hazard, that's on you, and you need to, be able to reset, be able to refocus, and hit that next shot. It's such a great sport. A lot of hockey players that I know, I teach a lot of junior, college, pro athletes that want to get better at golf because it's part of their social situation circle as well, for sure. But you know what? It's a game that is very addictive from exactly what you just said, where it challenges you as a person to be able to overcome those little things really quickly.
And hey, you got some fun specials going on. You got the 9 and Dine special, but also the Rise and Dine. What's the difference?
Yeah, they're great. You know what? We're just trying to meet the needs of our customers, the people that want to golf. There's something for everyone. If you don't want to just golf, but you want to come and eat, we've got a 9 and Dine special. It's every Friday after 4. It's $119. You get 2 rounds with cart and a $50 gift card to our restaurant. And then on the flip side of that,
okay, well, it's $120 for 2 people, and you get $50 to eat.
Yes. Yeah. It's a great promotion, great deal. It's usually full. We sell that out every Friday. So if you want to get into that, you want to book a week in advance for sure. And then on the flip side of that, we've got our Rise and Dine. So you can come between 5:30 and 8 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday. You can play 9 holes and get a $20 gift card for the restaurant for brunch for $50. That's with cart. So you can kind of beat the heat. Those perfect times. You can play the back 9. It's a quick round, and then you can have breakfast afterwards as well. So once again, our Rise and Dine special is $50 with a $20 food voucher.
Ooh. Oh, and do you guys do you have brunch? Is it periodic? Do you have or do you have brunch every Sunday?
We have brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I think it's one of the best brunches in the city. Our chef Julia is out there making waffles, chicken and waffles, everything you can think of. It's made fresh. So you got to take advantage of the brunch as well.
Dude, we might have to have a brunch party. Like, I know I'm a guy. I love brunch. I think brunch is like the greatest thing when it's, you just multiple different foods all at one time. It's fun.
Yeah.
Now I know we had mentioned this before. Young Donovan wanted me to ask, how's your mingle nights going?
Oh, it's going well. Have you been out? It's good. You know what? If you've been out to Cattail, you kind of get the vibe that we have out there. Our patio's out on the water. It's just such a great atmosphere. And you can come golf and meet some new people, get to know them a little bit, mingle a bit, and then have a beverage or two after out on the patio. These beautiful nights just make it that much better. So, yeah, mingle night's going really well.
Jay, great stuff, man. Enjoy the rest of the tournament and enjoy beating the heat at Cattail.
You too, Greg. Thanks so much.
There you go. That's Jason Wad joining us from Cattail. If you missed it, the leader, Daniel Brown. He has one European Tour victory to his name. Now, it's only opening round, but Shane Lowry's one back, and he's got a little bit of a gap. 3 up on Justin Thomas in third, and then 4 ahead of Noren and Hogard and Justin Rose and Xander Schauffele. That guy's always around. Hey, the Canadian, how about Mackenzie Hughes tied for 4th? He's right in the hunt. So Hughes and Connor both in the top 20 at the opening round of the Open Championships. Coming up in the next hour, we'll do our Boston Bruins tour. We got a little racing with Livingston later on today. Man, we are talking the number 2 overall pick in the PWHL right here from Edmonton. Daniel Serdachny will be by. We got a great young Olympian, 16 years old, youngest member of the swim team. Nice. Get to that and much more. But first, we'll get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by the Hockey Heroes Society. And they've got their big golf tournament and gala dinner coming up September 6th and 7th. The dinner's on the Friday the 6th. The golf goes at noon on the 7th. They team up with NHL alumni. Come out. You can have a great time. It's all for fun. And you raise a lot of money for Hockey Heroes, which gets kids in the game who otherwise would never get to play. You can sign up your foursome or get a table at the dinner. HockeyHeroesGame.com.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. They're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1892 or email info@cweves.com.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG
Action
construction equipment
elect-
you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
You don't work for GMC, but it's kind of like you do because you pay what we pay. GMC employee pricing is on now on all 2024 GMC Sierra half tons and Hummers. Oh, but at Wolf GMC Buick, it's even better. Get GMC employee pricing on every in-stock 2024 GMC. If it's new and a 2024 and it has that beautiful GMC logo on it, then it's GMC employee priced. Pay what we pay, but only until July 25th. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now and see the over 200 GMCs in stock.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks invite you to their Field of Dreams on Monday, July 22nd. BASF and Vigor presents a corn-filled evening with a salute to the classic Costner baseball movie and all your favorite quotes. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one down, better than two slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and did so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby your Beamer. But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, boys, the commercials were double track. We'll figure it out. Were you hearing double? 2 commercials at once? We'll get that sorted out if there was 2 going at once. So make sure it doesn't happen. Which one was better? No. We'll look at that and make sure it's all good. Text line's really humming today. Lots of different topics. I like it. Hey guys, you mentioned golf, tennis, very mentally tough as well after a bad shot. Well, I think it was Federer when he had it in one of his speeches, and he talked about how he had in his career something like he lost close to, I don't know, 50 or 48% of his points, which actually seemed really high to me. I'm like, didn't that guy win a lot of 6 loves? But maybe I'm forgetting that. But either way, it illustrates, yes, the individual sport is very tough mentally. And I think there's a benefit for kids who love playing team sports to do even one individual sport for a while, just because the onus is on you. You can't blame your teammates. You can't blame anyone else. You get all the accolades, but you also have to face all the pressure. Now, some people aren't wired for it, right? Like to be an individual athlete, it's just different. I think a lot of people are what I like to call kind of like a pack animal. Like you like being around others, right? You feed off it. Some people are like, no, I'm much better being on my own. So part of it's your personality, and that's really difficult to change, right? Like we've had individual athletes said, you know what, I wasn't a great team player, so I was better as an individual athlete. I wasn't a good team, because anybody who's ever played, to be a good team player, sometimes you got to bite your lip, right? You see Johnny or Jill over there and they're screwing up, and you're like, oh my good, right? But you got to be supportive. So it is very different for sure. I do think golf though, like, and probably because golf, it's a good challenge. And if you challenge yourself to it, it does force you to say, okay, you know what? Relax, serenity now, all those other things. So welcome back. It is the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website. And you know what today is? Ooh, baby, it's the one I always like. Hey, I'd love to win the big lottery, but I don't need to be greedy. How about just $1,000 a day for 20 years? That's amazing. You can get that when you do the grand a day for life, the daily grand, they like to call it, at PlayAlberta.ca. Hey guys, I saw Jeff Jackson comment how he doesn't want to be the GM. Why would they have hired him if he doesn't want to be the GM? Well, because it's a different role, Cliff. He's the CEO. He oversees everything in the organization. That's what the CEO does. And, like some teams have a team president, but he has a say in some of the business side of things, whereas the GM's mainly focus is the hockey side. And so Jeff Jackson, if you look at his career path, he's a former player, assistant GM, agent. So he's been, he's done sponsorship deals with players when he was an agent, right? Connor McDavid's agent, pretty sure he's negotiated some deals for sponsorship packages. Well, 100% we know he did. And he was very clear when he got hired that because when you're the GM, to be a good GM, you got to be in Edmonton the majority of the time. And in a lot of cases, you're going on the road too. Now, Ken Holland was a GM who went on virtually every road trip. Not some GMs don't do it that much, but that was his choice. That's what he always did. He liked it. He felt he got a better pulse of his team. And sometimes you go on a road trip and they might stay an extra day or two and scout someone else because he was a scout at heart. But that was his approach. That's what he liked. Jackson doesn't want to be, his wife has an unbelievable job by herself. Like, she's a high level attorney, my understanding, and she's not moving out here. And so he, from a family life balance, when he was approached, he said, yes, I'd be interested in taking the job, but I can't be full-time in Edmonton. And to do the GM job correctly, he needs to be. So this isn't really, I know a lot of people like, get Jackson to be the GM. He doesn't want to be the GM. He's not going to be the GM. Now, that doesn't mean he won't have a say. And the GM has to have a similar viewpoint on his approach. Right? Jackson says, they want to do things a little bit different. It doesn't always have to be, hey, this has worked this way for years in hockey. Now, there's some things you do because they work. There's a reason why certain attributes in whatever job you do, you still do because they work. But there are different ways in approaching scouting or evaluation that you can at least dip your toe in and be open to. And that's his plan. So whoever their GM is, I think will have to have a similar vision. Now, the GM still is going to be the GM. And, well, you consult with Jackson. If Jackson hires his GM, he's got to trust him that the GM gets the final say on those certain things. You consult with your CEO, but if you're going to hire someone, but then you don't allow them to do their job, they're not going to be good at their job. They just can't be, because they'll always be, well, geez, I kind of want to do this, but guess I got to go back and ask Jeff if I can. Like, of course you have conversations. It's not a dictatorship. There's no organizations today, from my understanding, at least successful ones. I think the ones that aren't successful might have a tendency to have that. So that's why he's not going to be the GM. So we'll see. Hey guys, why not just do both and let the assistant GM do it? Because you can't be half pregnant, right? You can't be. You can't say, hey, I'm going to be the GM, but I'm not going to do the GM duties, right? It's disrespectful to the job to think that you can half-ass it and do it that way. It just doesn't work, right? I respect the fact that he knows what he wants to do, knows what role he's capable of doing successfully, because it gives him the life balance that he wants, that he said, hey, if I'm going to take the job, I'm not going to be the GM. Like, he's an interim GM right now. Could they promote? You have 3 assistants. You have to give somebody the GM title. Otherwise, it's dysfunction. And I don't believe that that's going to work full time, right? I just don't do it. So, we'll see. It doesn't mean that Jackson won't be in Edmonton, right? Not at all. But having a GM like Ken Holland last year, like, the Oilers went to the Stanley Cup final, and I know some people want to poo-poo what Ken Holland did. Look at the roster. Right now, Ken Holland has a significant impact in it. The next GM, and when he gets hired, he should send a bouquet to Ken Holland to say thanks, because the team that you left was infinitely better than the team you inherited. And that's a fact. You go look at the roster that Ken Holland took over in May of 2019, and then look at the one that he left in June of 2024. That doesn't mean he didn't make some mistakes along the way. Far from it. Nobody's perfect. Especially as a GM, you got to take some swings sometimes. But the overall team it's not even close. You go look at that roster of players that they had and who he had to beat. So, hey, Gregor, guaranteed the Oilers hire Bowman. It's literally the most Oilers thing they could do from Dr. Richard. I'll say this, at this point, I'd be surprised if they went that direction. I could be wrong, but I'd be surprised. Hey, guys, ask Chris Jones how it works doing 2 roles. Hi-yo from Greg. Touche, Greg. Touche. Don't try to do too much, and then it leads to not being successful. That's how I do it. It's just that easy. McGregor, don't you think Holland's mistakes were worse than his big hitters? Not at all. Is Zach Hyman better than Jack Campbell? Has Zach Hyman helped the team more than Jack Campbell hurt the team? Yes. Did Matthias Ekholm help the team more than Zach Cassian contract? The Zach Cassian contract hurt the team? Without question. I don't care that you gave up a second or third rounder. Go look at the percentages of those maybe helping your team. Maybe. Like, it's not, to me, it's not even a debate. His home runs were much better than his foul balls. I don't even think it's close. And like those are the big ones. Like, obviously the Ekholm and the Hyman deals were massive, right? Like, those are 2 best ones. No question. But the Kulak trade has been great. The Cody Ceci signing has worked out incredibly well. For what he gets paid, for the minutes he's played, how he performed, in the third and fourth round of the playoffs last year. I have no issue with that signing. Can you look to improve him as a player? Sure. If you can find one cheaper in your third pair, let's know who it is. Cheaper and is just as effective. Who's tradable? That's always my question. Trying to think, the Adam Henrique. It's a great deal. Right? You give up that first pick all day, every day. All day, every day. No, for three playoff runs of Henrique, no question. I go back, I look at the initial one-year deal of Tyson Barrie, worked out. His multiple-year contract worked out. Allowed him to use that as a piece to get Ekholm. We go down the list. I think he's got way more big hits than misses. No question. 3:21 when we come back, and they've taken a lot of changes, some due to retirement. Well, actually, some big ones that are retirement, but yet the Boston Bruins had another great season last year. Now more off-season changes. Are they better? We'll find out next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt. And fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
Gather around the radio, kiddies, for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Listen in this week as your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the word.
Oodle Noodle time. Oodle Noodle time.
You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance.
Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Hey, Leduc, can leading edge physiotherapy help you? Well, this is a question I face every day. Let me answer the best I can. Do you have a pain or injury to your toe, foot, ankle, knee, hip, lower back, middle back, neck, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hand, or finger? Are you dealing with a sprain, strain, fracture, tendonitis, bursitis, arthritis, dizziness, balance issues, surgery, whiplash, or headache? Okay, I can't list all the problems that we can help in leading edge physio in under 30 seconds, and I can't promise we fix everyone. But I can promise that we'll combine our experience, skills, technology, and hands-on care to give you an edge. Life shouldn't hurt. Find us at leadingedgephysio.com.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Well, there's like Strutty running the tunes here today. What the hell's going on there with a little bit of a ballad? Maybe Deck's got a big date tonight or something. Oof, trying to get himself in the mood. We shall see. We shall see. Hey guys, great song to start that segment. Hey, it's clearly not Strutty. We'll see. We will go around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's, and man, the heat wave is on. And you can get dollar cones all summer. How about $2 milkshakes, $2 sundaes? They stop in. Little reprieve from the heat, little sweetness, only at McDonald's. And the Boston Bruins, as we're tracking down Joe Haggerty, the Boston Bruins have had an interesting offseason again. I'll say this: it's never slow, never quiet in Beantown. After last season, they lose both Krejci and Patrice Bergeron to retirement. This season, they trade Linus Ullmark. Jake DeBrusk leaves as an unrestricted free agent. They bring in a few guys, mainly, of course, Elias Lindholm comes in at a $7.75 million cap hit. On the back end, they got Nikita Zadorov. So you look at Charlie McAvoy, Hampus Lindholm, Brandon Carlo, Nikita Zadorov, likely to be their top four in Boston. Big mobile defense core. They got Andrew Peak, who they acquired at the end of last season. Lowry, Parker Wotherspoon on the back end as well. They do bring in Kaslick. He was kind of a fourth line guy as part of that Ullmark trade. Also, Korpisalo is now going to be the backup with Jeremy Swayman. They got in Max Jones from Anaheim. You have they're interesting. I guess no, they're gonna the one guy to watch though to me is that big Brazo kid. So we're having some issues with Joe's phone, so we'll try to get that sorted out here in a second. But I'm interested. Like the Bruins, every time you think they're going to take a step back, they just don't. Right? Like they have been a very consistent team. The last few years for them. He's they just find a way year after year to get 100 points. Right? It's kind of what they do. So you can't really complain about it at all. If you're a Bruins fan, you're like, hey, our team, despite some major changes, finds ways to win, right? And we'll talk to the guy now, who of course covers them and has seen. And every year you're thinking, maybe the Beantowners will take a step back, and lately that's not been the case whatsoever, despite some lot. Now we all know the disappointment from the record-breaking season. A few years ago, where obviously they wanted to be better in the playoffs, but that's the greatest regular season ever in NHL history, and they followed that up. Like it's one of the biggest drop-offs when you have 135 points. They dropped down to 109, which is a 26-point drop, but they're still 109 points. That shows how good they are. So what do they do for an encore? We'll find out. Joe Haggerty joins us. Joe, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Thanks, Jason. How are you, bud?
Hey, man, pretty good. Hey, it's never, there's always storylines in Boston. Some significant moves. Like last summer, of course, it was retirements. This year, it's free agents going in and coming out. So I guess let's start with, they bring in Elias Lindholm. Safe to say, like you got him in ink to be the center iceman to start with David Pastrnak?
Yeah, I think it's, at this point, a fairly certain lock that it's going to be Elias Lindholm, probably centering David Pastrnak and Pavel Zacha on the wing as well. And that second line is going to be Charlie Coyle at center and Brad Marchand at left wing. And really the only question, I think, in the top six is who's going to play right wing with Charlie Coyle and Brad Marchand. But I think it's, unless something crazy changes, unless there's some kind of like chemistry that just absolutely doesn't work, isn't apparent in training camp, I think you can mark it down right now that Lindholm and Pastrnak will be playing together, and that Zacha's probably going to be playing with them as well. And I think that has the makings of a really excellent, top line and an excellent centerman to work with Pastrnak. And for Lindholm, you could really make the argument that this is the kind of talent, at least the level of talent that he played with when he played with Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk and had that phenomenal season in Calgary where he topped 40 goals and 80 points. And now nobody's saying he's going to do that with the Bruins, but maybe there's another level he can get to offensively that he hasn't the last couple of years playing with higher caliber offensive players in Boston.
Morgan Geekie had 17 goals last year, his first year in Boston, career high in goals and points. He got a chance to be that second line right winger?
Yeah, I think Morgan Geekie is in the mix there. I think Trev Frederick is in the mix there. I think Justin Brazeau was very impressive as a rookie last year. Big body, has a lot of offensive skills around the net. He'll be in the mix. I think even a guy like Max Jones may get some looks there as well. And then you'll also have young guys, Fabian Lysell, one of their top prospects. I think their top forward prospect, a first-round pick a couple of years ago. I think he'll be in the mix and he'll get looks in training camp. And Jordy Merkulov as well, another prospect that's mostly played center but has played some wing, has a lot of skill, a lot of power play acumen, very good offensive prospect. I think those kind of young guys will be in the mix too. But what that tells me, Jason, is that that position is by committee until somebody seizes it. We could see a lot of different players, including there may be training camp invites like Danton Heinen last year to try to vie for that spot as well. And that it may eventually be a position they look to upgrade at the trade deadline, especially after losing so much offensive punch with Jake DeBrusk signing with Vancouver. That I don't know if anybody's got the high level of offense that they're really going to need to play with Coyle and Marchand. But we'll see. They're certainly going to open it up to competition.
Then on the back end, Zadorov's obviously the big signing for them. $5 million for 4 seasons. McAvoy, Lindholm, Zadorov, and Brandon Carlo. It's a pretty solid top 4.
I think it really is. And the thing I like about Zadorov so much is that he was what they were lacking in a huge way. They needed a thumper. They needed an intimidator. They needed somebody that throws big hits, that is mean and dirty and nasty to play against around the net, that makes the other team pay for getting close to their net, that really makes it miserable for other players. And I think he's that kind of guy. He's going to help them in the playoffs with that presence and that intimidation factor and the physicality that he has. And I think he's also kind of hit the point in his career where he's sort of figured out where to pick his spots with that, how to play as a big physical sort of stay-at-home guy that's got a little bit of offensive skill, and be a positive upside kind of player and without being a high-risk player as well. Obviously, there's going to be times he's going to get penalties. Obviously, there may be once in a while he chases a big hit and he gets out of position or opens something up. But I think the times that he's done that have lessened quite a bit as he's gotten older and matured and sort of learned how to play the position at the NHL level. But just the presence alone, the second half of last year in the playoffs, I think you watched the Bruins a lot. You said, man, you really need somebody on the back end that's going to make teams pay the price to get to the net and really make it miserable for them and just be hard to play against in the defensive zone. I think Zadorov is that guy and then some, and he wants to do it. It's not like you're going to have to coax him into playing that way. He's just wired that way with his DNA.
Joe Haggerty joins us talking Boston Bruins and the off season. You meant like DeBrusk is obviously the big loss. Then there's in goal. Linus Ullmark gets moved. He goes to Ottawa. They bring in Korpisalo. He's clearly going to be the backup. Joe, do you have any idea? We've seen Swayman, when he got the chance to run more in the playoffs. Like, what's the number? Is 55, I think, the start number that they'd like? Is that low? Is that high? Where do you think they're going to be with Swayman this year and give him that clear, bona fide number 1 starter role?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the bare minimum, right? Like, I think that's kind of what he's going to have to do. And it's really interesting. Like, we talked about this a lot in Boston. I've talked about this on my Pucks with Hacks podcast quite a bit. Nice plug right there, Jason.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a lot. That what's his value? Like, I think this contract situation with him is kind of a difficult one. And part of the reason it's not done yet is because he wants to get paid, top goaltender money, and rightfully so, I guess, after the playoff he had. But we're also talking about a goalie in Jeremy Swayman that's never played more than 44 games, that's never been in the top 5 in Vezina Trophy voting, that, doesn't have the kind of number 1 sort of I'm the man seasons under his belt that other goaltenders that are getting paid $8 million a year have had before. And I think he needs to show that. I don't know that you can give him, say, 8 years and $64 million until he's played 55 to 65 games, until he's maintained his performance while playing like a number one and having that workload and showing that mentally and physically he can be consistent and perform consistently under that grind over the whole course of the year, knowing everything is on his shoulders. Before, he's always had Omar to share it with him. And yes, he showed it in the playoffs. That's like 1 month. And granted, I think you're going to pay, and you're going to be happy to pay for a goalie that's proven he can be outstanding in the playoffs. But I think he's still got some things to prove in the regular season that he's the number one guy before we sort of anoint him as that. So I think the whole situation with him, the contract negotiations, what he ends up getting for a money dollar sign in AAV, I think all of that is fascinating because I don't know there's a comparable out there that's gotten huge, huge money that's in the same situation that he's in. I looked at Saros, and Saros got 3 years and $15 million when he was in the exact same position as Swayman, having split time with Pekka Rinne and had similar numbers at a similar age in his career. And then he got the huge money deal at 28, 29 after he played 60-plus games a few years in a row, got, some Vezina Trophy credit and notice and all that stuff. Like, the Bruins may have to pay him because they've already traded Allmark and sort of they've taken all their leverage away, and that just might be the way it goes. But I'm not sure he's going to get – people in Boston are just automatically saying he's going to get 8 years, 64. I'm not sure it's that automatic. I don't know if it's going to be that high just based on where he is. Yeah,
like if you're Jeremy Swayman, he's waiting for a contract right now, but he doesn't I don't even, if he went to arbitration, like let's say he actually went through it, I'm trying to think what would you mention Saros? I don't know if he would magically get eight mil because it's not just save percentage that's looked at in those cases, right? You got to look at games played, and that's a significant one. And you're right, it's not necessarily his fault, but you can't get a guy a long-term deal on projections. That's what I was told. That they don't do projections as much as they do actual numbers.
Yeah, no, it's like real estate, Jason, right? Yeah. You got to have comparable properties. You got to have comparable contracts and players in order to make the money, and in order to ask for the money and get the contract that you want. It's not based on future projection and what you think they might do. It's what you've done. He hasn't done what other goalies have done to get paid $8 million a year. So that's why I wonder what is going to happen eventually with this negotiation, especially when we get to training camp, because I do think there's expectations or there's a gap there where the Bruins are have the cold hard facts, and the Swayman camp is probably wanting him to get paid like certain guys, and he's not quite there yet.
Yeah. Looking at that division, Florida, of course, has been very good the last 3 years. So have the Bruins. Tampa Bay made a lot of changes, made a tough decision in Stamkos, which I actually think is the right decision, but we'll see. Where is it? Is it Boston, Florida? Tampa, Toronto's obviously been very good in the regular season. We all know their playoff struggles, but do you see anybody else cracking that top four?
Maybe Detroit. I think that's a team that's on the rise. I think they've continued to get a little bit better and add more and more. I mean, Ottawa's going to be interesting, I think, with Linus Ullmark if they get much better goaltending. Is Buffalo going to finally push through one of these years? I think one of them is probably going to start to push, especially where I think you may see a team like Tampa may be losing a little bit. We'll see how that affects them with their captain gone and with such a big presence in there gone. But I think at the end of the day, when you look at the talent, when you look at the rosters, when you look at what they've done in the past, it's still going to be difficult for any of those other teams in the Atlantic to really break through and push out, Florida, Toronto, Boston, Tampa, because they have such strong cores and they're such good groups organizationally. And they're kind of built for regular season success. And that's one of the things with the Bruins is I think they're figuring out now, not only do you have to be built for regular season success, but you have to be built for playoff success as well. And that's why you see them adding big bodies like Zadorov and adding, heavy physical players and, sort of taking a cue from the way that Florida played to win the cup, that you need to be built for both. And I think they're figuring it out. But some of the other teams need to figure out the regular season formula before they can get to that point. Teams like Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, Detroit, etc. Yeah, it is. There's no doubt that, the game is played a bit different. It's just heavier come playoff time, and size does matter. It absolutely does. And I think it's not a coincidence that everybody the Bruins drafted was 6'3" or taller. The defenseman, the big prize defenseman they got was 6'6", 250 pounds. They got a guy like Max Jones, who's a big, beefy, physical player. Guys that they get at the trade deadline, whether it's Pat Maroon this year, whether it was Dmitry Orlov and Garnet Hathaway the year before, those are big, heavy players as well. I think they're starting to understand, and they have understood for a few years, and they're putting more of an emphasis on it, that you need big, strong players in order to win in the playoffs. Not only that, Jason, but like you saw some of the players they let go. A guy like Matt Grizzlick, 5'9", 180 pounds, a Charlestown native. This guy, for God's sakes, works on the bull gang that changes over the ice from the parquet at the Garden, has worked at the Garden for over 30 years. They let him walk and go to Pittsburgh because he's a good puck mover, but he's small.
Yeah.
And he gets exploited in the playoffs, and he gets pounded physically in the playoffs. And all the teams that win and have success in the playoffs have defenseman cores that are like 6'2" across the board and well over 200 pounds. The smallest D they have now, Jason, of the 6 defensemen that are probably going to play is Charlie McAvoy, 6'1", 209 pounds.
Yeah.
That says something to me. Like, they understand they need Big D in the playoffs in order to have success.
Yeah, no question about it, Joe. Joe, always good to catch up with you. One quick one, non-related. What about the? I know you cover the Bruins beat, but are the Patriots relevant at all right now? Like, I know they won for a long time. Does that give them leeway? Are their fans like, whatever, they'll be fine, or are they getting a little bit, I guess, impatient with the lack of success recently from the Patriots?
The Patriots, what sport do they play, Jason? Refresh me. I can't remember. I mean, they're not what they were. You know, the NFL is still like the biggest business as far as pro sports goes. Yes. They're clearly a juggernaut. So there's some, credit there, or there's something there where they're always going to be relevant to some degree just because the NFL is such a huge monolith as far as professional sports goes.
Yeah.
But like a lot of the interest as far as the Boston sports fan goes, it kind of goes away if you're not championship caliber, if you're not being able to win a Super Bowl or win a title. And the Patriots are nowhere close right now. They're not going to be close until they establish a quarterback and they have a core group together that can win. And, the star power is really gone with Tom Brady gone, with Bill Belichick gone, and with them trying to build up now. And with the Celtics coming off a championship, with the Bruins being a Stanley Cup caliber team, but even the Red Sox right now doing pretty well. Jaron Duran, being MVP at the All-Star game, having a breakout year. The Patriots are sliding down as far as relevancy goes in the Boston sports team. There's no question about it.
Joe, great stuff, man. Enjoy your summer. We'll talk to you again soon.
All right, thanks, Jason. See you, bud.
There you go. That's Joe Haggerty, a longtime beat reporter, covered the Bruins very well. And, the Swayman, that is the one off-season contract this year. It's probably the most important one for any team. And I'll be curious to see if they get a resolution here, because I can see the theory behind why he wants the money, but he just doesn't have the games played at that position. That's tough. Find out. When we come back, somebody is stepping away. They're done in F1, but not done in racing. We'll discuss that and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town, and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days, because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310-GLASS or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy Team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and family fun activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $11,300 off select Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate Crew Cab models. With employee pricing, combined with Sierra's 6.2-liter V8 gas engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system with available Google built-in, plus available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance tech, there's more reasons than ever to celebrate this summer. Hit it! Oh yeah! Ask your GMC advisor for details.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Why wait to say? At least I did it my way. I wait to fail.
DeChambeau to go back to back. He shot a 5 over today. Rory 7 over. Yikes! But 6 under. If you had, well, hey, good for you. If you had Mr. Daniel at 6 under, I don't think many people had Daniel Brown at 6 under par. Unreal for him. Like, that's a story. Now I'll be following. I'd like to see him stay in contention. Be amazing. He has 1 win on the European Tour, never won the PGA Tour, so obviously it would be a massive victory if he can hold out. But winning 1 round, as we all know, if you golf, means a whole lot of nothing when it gets to 4 rounds. Let's get to the racing report now, brought to you by Can Torque. And you know what? Big announcement with them. Improved quality control, more flexibility, because they now have machining capacity in-house. Quicker, more accurate, quicker turnaround. Check it out at cantorque.com or give him a call, 436-2000. Colin Livingston joins us, and Colin, the news never ends, it seems, in F1. It's not a huge shock that Kevin Magnussen is leaving Haas, but it sounds like, and I'll read you his quote, "I'm 31 years old. I'm starting to think that it would feel empty if I ended my motorsport career after only driving around the midfield of Formula One. when I look at Le Mans or the Indy 500 and see some of the winners, they look damn happy. And I think there's a career outside of Formula One. So now maybe he's got no ride, so that's what he's saying. Or maybe he's like, you know what? I want to try something different.
Winning any kind of motorsport race, any kind of race is awesome. And it doesn't matter if it's Indy, Le Mans. It doesn't matter if it's a WEC race. Winning is great. And that's what we're.
Well, I think that's the fact. He's like, the team I'm on is never going to win. And because of that, I'm not going to get on a team that has a chance to win. So let's go somewhere where I have a chance to win.
There's a bit of arrogance to what he's saying, as if he can just drop into another car and somehow it'll magically get to the front. I mean, the closest to come over to someone at Kevin Magnussen's level has been Romain Grosjean. And while Grosjean's had a bit of success, he's really struggled to adapt to IndyCar style racing versus Formula One, where, you know, the aggressive style that those guys have, it really hasn't served him well in Formula One, and it definitely doesn't serve him well in IndyCar, because the group in IndyCar is pretty good at self-policing. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to take somebody out behind the shed and give them a tune-up, but there are some senior voices in IndyCar that will take guys aside and say, like, this doesn't work. And the way that they'll get raced by the established drivers is very different than the way that they'll race each other. And they'll weed guys out. Yeah, you can have a contract, and yes, you might have guaranteed time with the team, but you're not going to get anywhere if you don't learn to work with the other drivers. And I think Magnussen, if he would make a move to IndyCar, there really seems to be a philosophy around these former F1 guys that come over to IndyCar and just say, well, the budget's less and the cars are all the same. And as long and I'll just jump in and I'll make my way to the front. And it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Don't wish the guy ill at all, or, don't wish against him, but he's destroyed a lot of cars. He makes a lot of really stupid moves. And, when you're racing on as many street courses as IndyCar has, that is that tight, and you're that impatient, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But you look at it right now, it is F1's pretty competitive with those top four teams. But the IndyCar is quite good. Now, what's your thoughts about their new hybrid system?
It's too early to really make a judgment. It's only been 2 events so far, 3 races, but it really seems to be an awful lot for nothing. It hasn't changed the way the racing happens, aside from maybe making it worse. Like this hybrid system is over 100 pounds of extra weight that doesn't seem to be contributing to the net racing. It was supposed to be the ability to save energy, store energy, and then utilize energy. But on the oval, they weren't able to do anything.
They did nothing. It was, I think Paolo said, is the most boring race he's been involved in.
Absolutely, because that 100 pounds doesn't sound like a lot, but that's a massive amount. And the weights towards the back of the car, what they've had to do to change the balance and kind of keep the car from driving like complete garbage, is they have to put a ton of front wing. So it throws the nose down to try and balance the extra weight, and it makes it almost undrivable. They can't pass. Like the guys, we've had some informal conversations with a couple of the drivers, behind the scenes, who are like, we knew that when we started catching the tail end of the field, all we had to do was slow down. They didn't want to get to where they were really in the wake of the lap cars, because the lap cars in IndyCar don't have to get out of the way. They knew if they got too close, then all of a sudden their front end, we just started slowing down because we knew the guy behind couldn't pass us. So we just waited. Then there was a caution. They cycled back around, and then we could go race again for another 20 or 30 laps. And so right now, don't have a lot of positive to say. I mean, they've had this thing in development for a long time. There was a lot of really good idea, but in practice so far, it seems like they've spent a whole ton of money
for
nothing.
Yeah.
And hopefully they get it right. And while I want to be optimistic, they've had 3 years of testing. They've been playing with this thing, and they've been doing all these off-season tests and mid-season tests, and they should be a lot further ahead than what they're at. I mean, even in qualifying, they had issues where the hybrid system wouldn't deploy. It's controlled by IndyCar. So the car has to be on track.
Right.
When you pull onto pit road, there's an automatic switch that happens that disables a lot of the function of the car so that you can't, accidentally deploy it. It insists that you take the car out of gear to begin fueling. There's a lot of things that are computer controlled, and they're mandated by a remote system from IndyCar. What was happening is cars were going out on track to qualify. They tried to deploy their hybrid system, and it wasn't working. So guy gets out, he's getting ready to make his run, go deploy. It's not working. They're like, guys, we don't have our hybrid. Come on in. We'll give you another set of tires. You can go out and make another qualifying run, because there's a lot of stuff that's not right with it. So they've got a lot of things to fix before do
it during the season just seems odd to me. It's they're kind of ruining excitement, because the season was awesome up until the last few races.
Imagine being in the NHL and finding out mid-season that we're getting rid of composite 6 and we're going back to wood, or like the 2-piece aluminum with the wood. Like, what do you mean? Like, why are we changing or we're going to foam pucks? Like, it wouldn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, no, not at all. Now, F1, of course, Magnussen's departing at the end of the year. They're already losing, arguably, maybe their best drivers going to Sauber. So there's speculation Esteban Ocon goes there, and they'll just promote the other young guy. Is that what you think?
Ollie Berman's already signed, so he's in the first seat.
Okay.
It's all but done that Esteban Ocon's going to move from Alpine in there. That's going to be a very, very, very interesting partnership next year, because Ollie Berman, he's got one Formula One race. He's got, I think, two free practices. Kicked absolute ass when he filled in for Carlos Sainz with a 7th place finish, never sitting in the car before. But Ocon is a really, really, really tough teammate. He creates a lot of dissension within the team. He's also the senior guy that's likely going to get a little bit more say to what he says versus what the rookie says. Hopefully the team can keep these guys under wraps.
And it's into you have a stretch of 5 races in 6 weeks. You had the triple header week off. Now they're back. There's Hungary and then Spa before the 1 month break. When you look at Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton has won. You got Norris, you've got Ferrari, although they seem to be going a little bit backwards right now. There's Perez and the question marks of what he has. Like, those top 4 teams, this is the most intriguing F1's been in a long, long time.
It's a whirlwind right now. Like, the craziest thing that started to come out, just really, I mean, people talk, there's rumor and speculation that's always rampant, but all of a sudden the story is that Carlos Sainz has been holding out, because there is a more than a slight chance that he's going to take over for Perez, possibly even within the season. If they actually, how could
Sainz do that? How could he leave Ferrari during the season?
There's got to be a lot of negotiation, but Red Bull can remove Perez because of performance clauses. They would need to then negotiate with Ferrari to find some kind of equitable separation. But even without that, he could be the teammate for Max, if not within the calendar year to start the 2025 season, which would throw everything else into disarray.
That would be crazy. Now, also the West Coast swing, it's more the West Prairie swing for NASCAR Canada, comes the next 2 weekends in Saskatoon, and then of course out in Wetaskiwin. Yep. And you're spotting for Larry Jackson. Now this year, it's there's a lot fewer cars in the overall thing. My understanding is they're kind of having an owner group getting together. Are you going to see some changes in the future, do you think, to NASCAR, Pinches?
Well, this is I've got to be as political as possible. I can't really get into trouble anymore because I don't have an ownership role. I don't have any real stake. I'm just a temporary contract employee from time to time with the teams. The owners definitely want to see some improvement. I mean, this weekend in Saskatoon, I think we've only got 14 cars. 3 are Western only cars. So Matt Shirley, Chantel, and Jamie Krizik, they're only going to do the 2 Western races. So without them, we'd only have 11. Mark Dilley is going to run, at least in Saskatoon, probably Edmonton. I haven't seen the entry list yet, but Mark hasn't run an event with us in I think since last year at Sunset. So without him, Now we're down to 10 cars. There are the regulars that, the Cameron, the Lacroix, Donald Teej, our teammate, he's doing all the oval races, DJ Kennington. But we're seeing a lot of cars drop away. The problem, and again, this is the political balance, is that the owners can basically say whatever they want. It's still NASCAR's show, and NASCAR is going to run it the way that they want to. It's very unlikely that an awful lot will change unless the owners come up with something that is to NASCAR's benefit. So what is the answer? I have no idea. I mean,
but what if all the owners like, well, I'm out? Doesn't NASCAR say, okay, wait a sec, or do they not care?
Then we finish the season, and then, everyone has to reassess what's going to happen for next year. The biggest thing is that it's so bloody expensive.
I was just going to say,
like, an event, depending on who you are, how you're set up. I mean, if you're dropping into an event, you've got to expect to pay between $25,000 and $35,000. The posted awards for Saskatoon are, I think, $78,000 total. You win the race, you're maybe going to see a check for, some races are as low as like $3,000 for an event that it cost $30,000 to get out to before hotels and airfare and all the rest. So you've got to obviously rely heavily on sponsors, but the series has to start. The series has to make sense for everyone. We can't just do it because we love going racing, because there's a lot of other venues and a lot of other series where you can still get pretty good bang for the buck. Mm-hmm. And, again, the big thing that we try and push with the NASCAR Canada series is that it's a national touring series. This year is 6 provinces, I want to say off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Obviously, some of the best events in the world, like GP3R, great. Our drivers are the most diverse out of, any series, and I'll stand by that, because they can run on a quarter-mile oval up to, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and the same drivers manage to get up front. We just need to get hopefully we can start showcasing it, and we can get more people to buy into what's going on.
We'll see. It'll be, I've been to it. I love it. Looking forward to going to it in 2 weeks' time. Have fun in Saskatoon.
Going to love it. Larry's one of the best.
All right. He's actually joining us on the program tomorrow, so that'll be good. Let me sit and we'll chat with you. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, man.
Let's call him in the Racing Report, brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to Declan Kruger and our Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit Booster Juice to try the cookies and cream Booster Ball. Taste a little bundle of almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookie. Download the Booster Reward app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.
CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Albatross Roofing and Construction has immediate job openings for skilled flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers. If you have SBS modified bitumen experience and CSTS certification, they want you. Get a great wage, benefits, steady work, and upward growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca today.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months.
Welcome back.
I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
The 100% Canadian beef McDonald's Western Barbecue Quarter Pounder is quite the mouthful. So, who better to sell it in 30 seconds than a 100% Canadian auctioneer?
Oh, mercy, it's back. 100% Canadian beef, topped with delicious smoky barbecue sauce and bacon. Who wants bacon? We got hickory smoked bacon strips, crispy onions. Who wants pickles? Not one, down better than 2 slices of processed cheddar cheese, served on a toasted sesame seed bun, and it's so for a limited time at participating McDonald's restaurants in Western Canada.
Weed Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson here. We all know how unpredictable Edmonton weather is. Extended falls to late winters, and who knows what spring and summer will bring. Regardless of the outdoors, your indoors will be comfortable with Weiss Johnson and Goodman. Whether it's a new Goodman air conditioner, heat pump, or furnace, using our expertise, we'll give you the best quote on Goodman products with no misleading information or offers. Just what's best for your family. Visit wjcools.com today.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Get in the game. And remember, this summer, you can use the promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino instance and live dealer. Check it out. And so Also, while you're there, the Daily Grand. It's our favorite Thursday game. Get in. You get $1,000 a day for 20 years, $7.2 million. Just wake up every day and you made $1,000. Boom. I just want to know. I don't know. Is like, can I pick the time that I want it sent to me every day? That would be amazing. I'd like to have it sitting at the table. Now I don't drink coffee, but I would have, water, my breakfast. Oh, ding. $1,000. Let's rock and roll. Whatever happens, it's going to be a good day. Every day with the G Note. Nice. Would be very good. Lots of text flying in 833-401-1440. John writes, hey, guys, I hear different reports that Draisaitl's contract talk isn't going good, but also hear they're going good. What is it? Well, John, my question is, where are you hearing that? I really haven't seen any talk about it. It was clear. I'll tell you this, there's been no talks because Jeff Jackson clearly said that the Draisaitl conversation won't start till they have their GM. Right? You want your GM to be part of a significant negotiation. So any suggestion I don't even know where you're hearing that, but who's ever writing it clearly, don't make up stories. All I got to do is listen to what Jackson said. Till we get a GM, won't be discussed. So I would not, I wouldn't worry about anything you read because until they get a GM, it's not happening. Draisaitl's agent himself said, we don't need it done. End of August, maybe. There's really no rush here. This is not going to be a very difficult negotiation. And I think that's why you want your GM involved. Just so, hey, you know what? Maybe ask Leon. Leon asks in his camp, ask him some questions. Hey, this is what I think. Here's my vision. Yada, yada, yada. It's pretty simple. But everybody knows what the number is. Come on. Leon Draisaitl, all you got to do is look at his numbers. He's getting Austin Matthews money. Now, maybe he wants to take a little bit less. They could argue he'd get a little bit more. It's 13 to 14 million bucks. Pick the number in between. And I don't even know if it's a negotiation. It'll come down to how long does Draisaitl want to sign for? Because if he only wants 4 years, the Oilers are still signing him. Make no mistake about it. That'll be 4 years, which means they'd have 5 more years minimum of Draisaitl. And you know what? Then you'll worry about it 4 years down the road when you renegotiate again. Worst case scenario is Draisaitl on a short-term deal at 4 years. Anything else after that, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? You're fine. And as I've said many times, I would make the argument shorter-term deal could benefit the Oilers. Could also benefit Draisaitl. I can't predict the future. If elite players rarely fall off cliffs, if we look at the history of elite players. So the odds of him playing well through that contract, pretty darn good. So. Hey guys, some people posted Sheldon Kennelly's endorsement of Bowman yesterday. I haven't seen an endorsement of Bowman from Beach. Anna Quenville stated that Beach gave his blessing to her father. To me, Beach's endorsement is the only one that should matter. If none is offered, that should speak volumes. Matt, see, here's the interesting part. When it comes to Beach, if you actually read the transcripts, Stan Bowman McDonough was above him in the chain of command and the ownership. And they sent the Beach story to them because they're like, well, hey, stuff like that usually falls to people at the top. To me, it's not Beach. I don't think Stan Bowman, it's not even the Beach situation. It's the fact of the letter for Aldrich. That's the issue. It's not the Beach thing, really, to me. That's one where, and I'm only going the public transcripts. So that's public. That's in the court case. You can go read them. I read them. Lots of people have read them. So seen that. Said, hey, we told McDonough. We told our ownership. At that point, I'm not sure what else you do, right? You're in the midst of a play in the playoffs. At that time, they didn't know the extent of it, right? and depends on what people believe exactly. But to me, the biggest, most erroneous decision was the Aldrich one, because it allowed it. And then it wasn't just the Blackhawks, because if you read the Aldrich situation, it makes you want to absolutely throttle him. He is a piece of human dung who preys on young men and boys. That's what he does. So you had him leave, right? He goes to college. There's some reports, nothing really comes from it. Then he goes to Miami, and there's 2 different complaints against him from players. 2 different ones. Now, unfortunately, lots of complaints. Somebody's unwilling to take it a step further, doesn't go to the police, kind of just gets shoved under the rug. So then he ends up at his high school. And that's where he gets charged and convicted for 9 months because he is a pedophile. Okay? That's what he is. Call a spade a spade. And so to me, Matt, that's the bigger issue here, is that the Blackhawks started it. Then Miami said nothing. And that's, I understand that it's difficult. But if there was one thing in our society where I would love sports to become the leader at, is having people willing to stand up in the moment. Not worried about, well, it might hurt my son's chances. I might rock the boat, might hurt my daughter's chances, whatever your excuse is. I don't care. If you know you have a sexual abuser, a pedophile, done. Scream it from the top of your lungs so everybody knows this is why they're no longer in our program. So no one else so they don't get another opportunity. Right? That's where we're never going to see improvements. If you look at our society, and it's far from perfect, but at least we've made acknowledgments, and we've made some progress in racism. Doesn't mean it's not, obviously it's not gone, but it's not nearly as acceptable as it used to be, thankfully. You look at the women's movement from the 70s to the 80s till now, massive improvements in equality. Right? Like today, how many jobs are there that women can't do? Not many. It's great. Fantastic. We've seen progress. Then you go to sexual assault. Have we seen any progress? In fact, I would argue we're going backwards. They don't call it rape anymore because, well, that's too graphic. We don't want that. Let's just lump everything in as sexual assault. So what does that do? It actually weakens the people that get raped because it's sexual assault. It's easier to paint the picture of sexual assault than rape. Declan and I were talking about the other day, the Jodie Foster movie, The Accused. That was the first ever actual rape scene in a movie I saw. It was hard to watch because rape is that. It's disgusting. It's awful. So until we ever choose in sports, you know what? Why not be a leader? I have more people in sports where they say there's lots of courage and lots of toughness. So why don't we do it? I'll tell you, the Edmonton Oilers, it would be a massive disappointment for me if they hire Stan Bowman for many reasons. Now, and Stan Bowman, to his credit, Sheldon Kennedy, yes, he's worked with Sheldon Kennedy a lot. That's great. And Sheldon Kennedy can give him his endorsement, and that's totally fine. I understand all of it. It just shouldn't mean that his first gig back is the best possible gig in the NHL. To me, it's that simple. That's where I would stand at. I would say, you know what? Someone else can give him an opportunity. Maybe it'll be an assistant GM. If he really wants to get back in, he can work his way up. So that's how I would view it. And I would really hope, and I don't care, Stan could come here on my show and I would tell him straight to his face. It's nothing personal. But you can get an opportunity, but not every opportunity is equal. Not every opportunity is the exact same. And to get to be the GM right now of the Edmonton Oilers, I've said it. Is there a better... The fact that it's a vacancy is crazy. Now, Ken Holland, kind of ready to leave. Maybe not 100%, but either way, he's no longer here. It's one of the most like if every vacant job in the league was open today, every GM job, if we said today all 32 teams have a vacant GM, guess what? Edmonton would be at the top of the list of the ones you'd want for the next few years. There's no doubt in my mind. So don't think he's worth of that. That's it. Quick break. When we come back, a huge local story. The number 2 overall draft pick. Also, already on the resume, an overtime gold medal game-winning goal. Talk about all that next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all-beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Area, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
Take a look inside your heart. Is there any room?
Facebook, as always, presented by playalberta.ca. You can always get involved as well. You can text us in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. It's time for our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Female Super League, designed to elevate female youth hockey. The FSL will provide a platform for 12U and 14U players to develop and improve their skills. You can learn more at femalesuperleague.com. And our next guest, she's really young, but even when she was young, they didn't have the FSL, but they do now. And the opportunities for young girls is a lot different today than even was 5 years ago. But it didn't stop our next guest from scoring the gold medal overtime goal at the World Championships in April. And then last month, she was the second overall draft pick in the 2024 PWHL draft. Right here from Edmonton, Danielle Serdachny joins us. Danielle, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Oh, hey, I appreciate it. So it's quite of a whirlwind for you the last few months. It's like, you've had a pretty good, or like, it's hard to top that. Hey, number 2 overall pick, a gold medal overtime winning goal for your country. Kind of put into words the whirlwind and excitement of the last few months.
Yeah, I would say definitely been an exciting few months. Definitely really busy too. Just finishing off my college career there at Colgate, followed by a World Championship, and then eventually the PWHL draft. So I was just super excited for all those opportunities and what they've kind of given me. So super thankful to play hockey and like I mentioned, have those opportunities. And
Now let's go through your hockey journey, Danielle, for you, obviously from Edmonton. Now, where'd you start? Now, obviously your dad, Steve's pretty into hockey and skating for sure. So at a young age, did you have an opportunity, or was it a decision, I should say, or was it more like you're bugging dad all the time? Like, I want skates, I want to play. How did it go for you?
Honestly, I think at age like 2 or 2.5, they put me into skating lessons with my older sister. So I feel like at the time I probably didn't really know much of what was going on, but from there I kind of just fell in love with it. I played obviously Timbits hockey there with my older sister at age 4, I believe, and kind of stuck with the male side of the game up until grade 10, where I transitioned to the female side. And played in Edmonton in grade 10, and then 11 and 12 actually moved to Kelowna. So I'm just super grateful, honestly, that they put me in hockey, because I feel like it's given me so much that maybe wouldn't have happened if that wasn't the case. So
when you transitioned and went from playing with boys to playing with the all girls team, what was the biggest difference you noticed, and how did it benefit your future path?
Yeah, I think on the ice, definitely the strength. By grade 10, I think that's when boys kind of start to grow more. So I didn't want to risk getting injured or anything if I wanted to stay on that side. And then obviously the speed too is a bit different, but off the ice, obviously the social aspect of being in the locker room with the girls and stuff was definitely a lot of fun. And
Now, when you played, Meg used to work for me, and she told me how she used to have to, she'd change in a janitor's room and different things like that. Like when you played, was it the same thing, or did you have better facilities to get dressed in when you were playing as a youngster?
Yeah, it kind of definitely depended on the rink. Obviously, in the more recent years, Twilliger Rec Center and Kinsman Arena had a good female setup, but a few of the other ones, there's definitely some closets and getting dressed in the women's washroom before the game. So it kind of just depended on the rink. So
you go to Kelowna, Danielle, and when did you start thinking university and college hockey was a possibility for you?
I would say that around the time I went to Kelowna, I was kind of going through the Team Alberta process there, and a lot of my teammates at POE, it was called at the time, were committed to either youth sports or NCAA. So I think kind of at that point when coaches started reaching out to me and my coach there in Kelowna, I kind of figured it could be a possibility for me. So
Danielle Serdachny joined us. Of course, she was the second overall pick recently in the Professional Women's Hockey League draft. And I want to go back, and then I want to big announcement for you today here in Edmonton. We're going to get to that in a second as well. But take me back to that Canada-US matchup and just the intensity. It's a rivalry that everybody who watches it knows, like in women's hockey, it's the two best nations. They go head to head all the time. And, some of them are your teammates maybe, or you've played against them growing up, but then all of a sudden you get Canada, US, and it's just different. Like the rivalry is legit. And that's kind of what I like from an outsider. Like there's a lot of real animosity. And so, for you to get in there and then to score that goal can you take us through what it meant for you in that moment and really just the whole tournament?
Yeah, definitely. I was pretty grateful that I was actually, the tournament was in Utica, which was about 30 minutes from Colgate, where I spent the last 5 years. So had some friends and family there. And honestly, that was probably one of the more crazier games I've been a part of. 6-5 being the final score. So when we played them in the round robin, it was only 1-0. So it was kind of like a opposite almost of the game. But obviously that moment was really special for myself and my family and friends. And coming off a loss last year in Brampton in the World Championship, I think our team was pretty hungry to get the win there, especially in the US. So when the moment happened, I kind of was in shock, to be honest. I was kind of processing what was going on. And as that was kind of happening, the team starts celebrating and you're hugging everyone. And the crowd's like pretty silent for the most part because it was mostly Americans. But I was just super grateful for that opportunity and to come out on top and share that moment with like my teammates, friends, and family was just super special.
Now, I watched the video of it again today, and as you're scoring, Brianne Jenner's on the bench. She's not even watching because she's talking to the coach, and all of a sudden everybody just jumps over the boards. Did you ever talk to her? Like, did she come? She's like, I don't even know who scored, right? She just comes over the bench. I don't know if you ever had a conversation with her, but it was kind of funny watching her. She's talking to the coach about something, and the next thing, she almost gets bowled over as everybody's celebrating because they're watching the goal.
Yeah, no, I actually haven't talked to her about that. I think everything just kind of happened so fast. And obviously, as time went on, you saw different perspectives from the bench and that sort of thing. So I think kind of at that point, everyone was just super excited and obviously didn't really care who scored the goal as long as it got done. So.
Now, today, a big announcement. You're going to be an ambassador to help grow the game. And, this segment's brought to you by the FSL. It's a new league for young 14U and 12U girls. Like, then you're very young. Like, you just got drafted in hockey. You just finished your college degree. But even the opportunities for girls now is so much better than it was a few years ago at the lower levels. But obviously, of course, going pro, what does it mean to you to be an ambassador and just to kind of look back and think, oh my goodness, things have really changed here in a short period of time for women's hockey and girls hockey?
Yeah, obviously it's like a huge honor for myself. Growing up in Edmonton, I've been a huge Edmonton Oilers fan, and I'm kind of to be a part of that community foundation and help grow and promote the female game here in Edmonton is a huge honor and something I'm not going to take lightly. I just think the opportunities are endless here with women's sports and the trajectory they've been on. So I hope I can impact some of these young girls' lives like I was able to be impacted by many players and people throughout my career. And I think it just kind of speaks to the growth. I think if you asked me a few years ago if I'd be in this situation, seeing how much time and energy they're putting in to grow the women's game, I don't know if I would have believed it, but it truly is incredible and super fortunate to be the female ambassador for that.
And so when you look at the PWHL and, you got drafted number 2 overall. So with that comes some expectations for sure. How closely did you watch the league last year? And having played in the World Championships, do you feel maybe a lot more confident and comfortable that you can step right in and be an impact player?
Yeah, I think just coming out of college and knowing it was my last year, with it being my 5th year, I definitely paid close attention to what they were doing in the league. And obviously with how new it was, I think everyone kind of had a close eye in it throughout women's college hockey for sure. So I definitely would tune into the games with my friends when we had the opportunity to. But just how fast kind of they got it kickstarted and running and how successful it was really incredible to see, especially as a spectator, and kind of speaks to all like the time and energy these current and past players have put into it and just how much they care about growing the game, which I think is also so important. But playing in the World Championship, obviously it's a lot different in many ways compared to the PWHL, but just honestly getting to know my teammates who play in the PWHL there with Hockey Canada will probably help the transition a bit more. But I think the new league also has a new aspect of physicality that hasn't really been explored much with women's hockey. So I think that will take some adjusting. But growing up playing boys hockey, I was kind of used to getting hit there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
Well, that I was going to ask you. I think you look at your skill set and where you played, and also your size. You should be if you want to play a little bit more of a rugged game, a kind of a power forward that seems to fit into your game.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot more physical than I think the college game, and I also think it's a good thing because, like you mentioned, just the rivalries that come from women's hockey. I think that physicality kind of digs into those. So looking forward to that too.
And you look at the league now. I know this year there's going to be a lot more of the best European players coming over because last year they couldn't because of when it was started, and then having a lot of the best women in the world. Just like the NHL, you're playing together all the time. It was pretty competitive. We saw the fourth place team win the league right in the first year, and you guys were only 3 points out. So you just look at the competitiveness and how this will actually obviously it benefits all the women playing, but it really should benefit the competitiveness at the World Championships, not necessarily right away, but down the road.
Yeah, definitely. I think just going to the World Championship, I guess I didn't really know what to expect with a lot of the girls like playing together on different teams and then competing. But it was safe to say the rivalries were still there. And I think when you're at the World Championship, whether with Canada, US, or any other country, you're kind of forgetting about the PWHL, regardless of if you played with these people or not. But yeah, I think just seeing how competitive the league was helps elevate everyone's individual game, but also, like you mentioned, at the international level too. So I think that's super important, especially seeing some of these countries, European countries, come a long way and be able to compete and really challenge both Canada and the US is so important too.
Danielle Serdachny joins us. Of course, she is one of the new ambassador with the Edmonton Owners Community Foundation to help grow girls hockey and women's hockey. Of course, she herself doing her own part on the ice, a second overall pick for Ottawa in the PWHL draft last month, scored the gold medal winning goal against the U.S. at the most recent World Championships in April. And so what's kind of, obviously you'll be training now. What's the plan on when you go to Ottawa?
Yeah, I mean, I think the start date is set to be around November. There's actually a Canada-US rivalry series at the start of November. So if I made that, then I think it would kind of be off to Ottawa after that. So I think the start date's around December, but I think they're kind of still working out the details a bit, just with everything that happened with the draft. And then now I think the main focus is on the upcoming season. So.
No, I love your humbled attitude. If I make it, I think if you score the gold medal game-winning goal, you got a pretty good chance to make that team.
Yeah, I hope so.
Is there one of your Canadian teammates that you are most excited to play against in the PWHL?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all such great players and people, but probably to compete against Marie-Philippe Poulin is going to be pretty cool at that level. She just is such a unique and skilled player on top of being such a great leader. And she's also so competitive. So I'm kind of excited to play against that too.
Well, Danielle, thanks so much for joining us. Say hi to Steve for us and congratulations to you. What an amazing few months. And I hope your first year in the PWHL is just as exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
Danielle Serdachny from Edmonton, the number 2 overall pick by Ottawa last June. I think it was June 10th was the draft. And what a few months for her. Unreal. You score like the Women's World Championship every year. Like that's, it's like their Stanley Cup playoffs goes every year, of course, right? That's what it is. Now they do have the PWHL. But that's like, they still have the one thing the women's game has that the men's game doesn't have is they get the best on best frequently. And so Canada US, that's what makes that rivalry awesome. You hear about they have the Canada US coming up again later this fall. That's fantastic. Now that's why I know some people have kind of poo-pooed the Four Nations Cup. I'm like, who cares? I don't see any negative in it. I don't need to see 5 or 6 countries. Would it be nice? Yes. But it doesn't weaken that it's still the best Canadian team, the best Sweden team, the best Finnish team, and the best American team. Great. I haven't seen it in a long time. I don't understand any. Wow, it should be this. Well, shut up. Who cares? That's not going to lessen it at all. Like the Canada Cup had 6 teams. Well, geez, there's only 4, so that makes it way worse. Come on now. Just enjoy it. You haven't seen it in a long time. It's going to be great. And could you imagine if it's Canada, U.S.? Kick their ass. Are you kidding me? I saw people talking about, oh, yeah, United States is gaining significant ground on Canada. Do you want to go player by player on the Canada, U.S. team? This is where I can be a fan of the country. I'm sorry. If you want to say that the U.S. has better goaltending, okay, great. Better defense? Nope. They got smaller defense that's quick in the U.S., but they don't have better defense. And they definitely don't have better forwards. Not close. Go best. Number 1 center, check mark Canada. Right? Number 2 center, check mark Canada. Top right winger, top left winger. Most of them are check mark Canada. If you go 1 for 1 and you go down the list. So I will take Team Canada all day. And just like in the women's game, they got the best player, Marie-Philippe Poulin. And hey, Danielle, think about that. It's usually Marie-Philippe Poulin who's scoring the massive, huge goals for Canada. Danielle Sterdakny. I don't want to put that much pressure on her, but that would be quite the torch to take. And it'd be great for a local Edmontonian. And I love the fact that she gets to be an ambassador for the Oilers Community Foundation, really help grow the women's game. Quick break. We'll come back with 5 questions and more on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks Party Bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Bang on the boombox, baby. About to get a little boondock.
Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. You can always get involved, 833-401-1440. Text us in our inbox. Your partner in power since 1976, EWEL.ca. A lot of text flying in already. Hey, guys, some of these I can't read fully on air, but thanks for the laughs. I appreciate it. Hey guys, why would Draisaitl sign a 4-year deal? He'll be 31 when that's over. Wouldn't he be better off signing 8 years to maximize? Well, it depends. You can bet on yourself. 4-year deal and think, you know what? I'm still going to be an elite player. Which 32 isn't 32 of a few decades ago. I think a lot of times you have to readjust your thinking on, especially for elite players. Anybody else, 100%. Elite players. Man, we see elite players in every sport. Like they're extending like the greatness years, 35 plus, 37 plus, 38 plus. So Leon Draisaitl in 4 more years, do I think he would still be a really good player? I do. And the salary cap might go up if they go up an average of 4 to 5 mil, we're talking 16 to 20 mil extra. But it goes up by then. Sign another deal then, probably for more. On a 4-year deal. So, you can play it both ways. We'll see what it does. And like I said, he's not hurting for money. He's coming off a $68 million contract. So whatever he signs for is putting him into the 100 million plus. It's going to be a good career. Let's get to 5 questions now, brought to you by The Brick. Hey, you want to, baseball's back, baby. And it is hot out. You want to watch the game in style all summer? You can save up to $850 right now on sofas and sectionals at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason. Question number 1 reports that Russell Westbrook is set to join the Denver Nuggets following a sign-and trade that will send him to the Jazz. He'll be bought out there. Thoughts on the fit and expectations with the new club for Russ?
And I'm amazed by the people who still think Russell Westbrook's going to come in and be a real big difference maker. Like, he's just not that guy. Now, the Nuggets, you know what? They're pretty good. I'm surprised that this is the best way they think they can fill out their roster. They've got 2 scores. They don't need a scorer. They got 2 scores. Really good scores. So, I don't know, mate. He should be okay, but I don't know why. I'm kind of tired of the Russell Westbrook story. Like, the guy's bounced around everywhere. Has he had really much success? Not really. Not since his early days in OKC. What about you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the easiest way to look at it is they traded KCP, not traded, but they swapped KCP for Russell Westbrook. And one guy is a guy who fits their system, knows his role. And I give Russ credit. He became more accepting of his role this past year, coming off the bench with the Clippers. But he's still a guy who goes downhill at 100 miles an hour, takes the most inefficient shots possible. As far as a pure basketball fit, not at all. The one thing is maybe some degree of mentorship for Jamal Murray. Not that he necessarily needs it, but that would be the only thing, I guess. Question number 2. Canadian Mackenzie Hughes off to a strong start. Currently tied for 4th, 2 under at the Open Championship here. Which Canadian do you think will have the best finish at this year's Open?
Yeah, I'll stick with Hughes. I think it's really only him and Corey Connor. The other guys will be struggling to make the cut. Not that they have to be dominant by any stretch in Hadwin tomorrow at all, but I'm kind of always rooting for Corey Connor to win, but I'm still waiting for it. So I'll say Mackenzie Hughes, and if he could somehow stay and finish in the top 10, that'd be a hell of a tournament.
Question number 3. Michael Phelps did, in fact, ESPN's top 100 list of the athletes in the 21st century that we talked about. We're not big ESPN guys. Think we agree on that. I think the list was horrible personally. I think you echo that sentiment. But a very quick top 5 athletes of this century from you.
That's a good question. For Usain Bolt, like, not everybody swims. Everybody runs. To be the fastest human on the planet, as fast as he was, as dominant as he was for that long in that sport, I'm probably putting him number 1 because the vast majority of people have the ability to run. You all walk unless you're disabled. You have that chance. The small percentage of people that like to swim or even get to a level where they swim. So I'm going to actually go with him number 1. I will have, and in no particular order, really. I'll have him. I would have Messi. I would have Serena Williams. I would have Connor McDavid because he's doing things. He's breaking Gretzky's records, for goodness sakes. And then I'll have LeBron.
Now, I don't want to drag this segment on. I know we have to get it quick here, but do you think, like, when you look at a guy, Tom Brady versus what he's accomplished, I know he had a longer time to do it, but him versus Connor McDavid, do you just think Connor McDavid's pure brilliance on skates puts him there? And you think that eventually as his career goes on, he'll get those accomplishments? So it's it doesn't matter?
Well, teams win championships, not individuals. He played a big role in it, don't get me wrong, but you need a good team to win championships. That's just proven in any sport. It's a team sport. So obviously he's great at it. There's no question about it. Him and Belichick was a perfect, but they had some really good defenses there at times. So he's won a lot of but if I'm just talking great athletes, he can't really move. So it doesn't strike me as a great athlete.
Fair enough. I'll give mine really quickly here. I would have had either Messi or Phelps at number 1. Would have been happy with either of those two. Novak Djokovic at number 3. Think he's incredible. Number 4, I would have had Tom Brady personally. And then 5th, probably LeBron. Question number 4. Caitlin Clark broke the WNBA record for most assists in a game yesterday with 19. Taking Wayne Gretzky out of the equation because this could all be him, what is the most unbreakable record in sports for your money?
Oh, Will Chamberlain, 100 points. No one's doing that.
And question number 5. Today is National Sour Candy Day. Do you have a favorite sour candy?
Oh, God. I love sour and I love candy. Favorite sour. Well, right now I'm going to go, I will go with my sour Smart Sweets. It's unbelievable. So I'll go with them.
I like it. Good picks.
You?
Not a sour candy guy in the slightest, so terrible that I was the one who made up the question. But I might go with those, like the peach rings, the fuzzy peaches, I think they're called. Those are okay.
Oh, yeah. Like the big sour ones, kind of like, looks like a key. Those ones, they're fantastic. I love sour because the great part about the sour is you really can't eat too many because eventually, if you eat too many of them and they're sour enough, then your tongue starts to bug you. So it's almost like for somebody like myself who has such a bad sweet tooth, it's almost like a built-in stopper of the sweet train. So it's kind of why I like it. So it limits, you get a good bag of chips, man, you can just crush those whole thing. It's like you get some of those, the dill pickle ones that were a little spicy. Well, all of a sudden you're like, I can eat some, but I can't eat the whole bag in one sitting. So it's almost like it's glutton protection is how I will view it.
Candy, chips, and chocolate all on the table. Which one are you grabbing?
Oh God, probably chocolate, I think. And that's really tight. Yeah, chocolate, then candy, then chips. Because there's only certain chips I like. I don't love chips. I like them, but I don't love them. Chocolate, ooh. Love it very much so it's very good, very good. Hey guys, do you know how many of those top 100 were American athletes? I got it. I'm just gonna scan. It looked like at least over 60, I would think. Maybe not, but that would be my guess, close to 60, give or take. So which hey, it's ESPN, they're gonna have a bias, and that's okay, but they're gonna have a bias. There's Crosby, there's Steve Nash, there's McDavid. Is there any other Canadians on that list? I'm trying to think off the top of my head, right? So, the United States has 10 times more people than we do, but they've got like 12, 13 times more athletes on this. So, hey, Greg, I thought it was dinosaurs. Yeah, but they're not really sour, right? I don't find them sour. I love dinosaurs, but I actually gave them up. I had to. It was, you got to make tough choices in life. Dinosaurs were basically like my cigarettes. God, I was addicted to them. I loved them. And I'd eat them all the time. It just wasn't. My father passed away young, and now as I get, I'm 5 years from the age he was when he passed away, and it just kind of like I was like, you know what? And my dad was actually in good shape. So maybe I'm worrying about it, but I'm much more cognizant now of what I eat. And some days it sucks, don't get me wrong, but I look at it and say, you know what? I'd like to have a goal. I started fatherhood later than my dad did. So I believe I survived fairly well after my dad died when I was 27. So I know it's kind of a morbid thing to say, but I want to at least get my son to 27. So that's which would mean then I would be like 12 years older than my dad, so that'd be nice. And obviously I'd like to live way longer, but it's a weird thing to think about, but you got to be truthful at times. And so I've become much more cognizant of what I eat. And when you read a lot of stuff, the number one issue for our health is what we put in our body. So if I can limit it, I have a better chance.
Just to circle back very quickly, the list had 56 Americans.
56?
4 Canadians, 4 from the Dominican Republic, 3 from Brazil, 3 from France, 5 from Spain, and 3 from Japan.
Yeah, well, that's like 80 people, so they're still missing 20. So we'll have to find out who the other ones are. So we'll see. I bet you when it's all said and done, it's gonna be 60. Yes, not a huge surprise, but I think there's some great athletes worldwide that got overlooked because they're not playing the major American sports. Like, I don't think there was one rugby player on there. The dominant cricket player, did he make the list?
97th, Virat Kohli. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it's like they put him in McDavid. Well, geez, we better put him on the list here.
We've heard of those guys.
Let's just slide him in
here.
97 and 98. Yeah, okay. Let's get to Sports 1440 update. Then we'll get to spec here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Albatross Roofing. They are hiring immediate openings for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. You must have experience with torch-on roofing. Steady ongoing work and industry-leading wages and benefits. Apply today at roofingalbatross.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, the Open Championship in full swing. Daniel Brown, the leader after 1. He sits at 6 under. Mackenzie Hughes, the Canadian, tied for 4th at 2 under. Corey Connors tied for 18th. He is even after 1 day. And the other 2 Canadians in the top 100 are Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor, who sit at 4 over par, tied for 82nd. Russell Westbrook is expected to sign with the Denver Nuggets after being waived by the Utah Jazz as part of a sign and trade between the Clippers and Jazz, sending him to the club. Commanders president Jason Wright will change his role and be out after this season. Jason Wright, the first black team president in NFL history, will no longer serve his role after this season, and he will remain on as a senior advisor until his departure. Rourke Chartier, who played 37 games with the Senators last season, is joining Kunlun Red Star of the KHL on a 1-year deal. Maxime Comtois also joining the KHL on a 1-year deal with Dynamo Moscow. The 25-year-old had 19 goals and 25 assists in 65 games in the AHL last year. The Carolina Hurricanes have re-signed forward Jack Drury, inking the restricted free agent with a 2-year contract worth $3.45 million. One other piece of news in the NHL, the Toronto Maple Leafs have hired Mark Leach as their director of amateur scouting. In hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Sportsnet's Mark Spector for the Spector Report and Paralympian Reed Maxwell. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Be melancholy, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt, and fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and family fun activities. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Hey, Elks fans!
Wiwad, touchdown.
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With 525 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate
Football
experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Everyone loves summer, but it's hard to enjoy fun in the sun when you're exhausted. Tossing and turning all night long, one can't sleep when you overheat. So cool things down with a new Goodman air conditioner, installed by the pros from Weiss Johnson. Your family will enjoy comfortable slumbers for years to come with a Goodman air conditioner in your home. Weiss Johnson, serving Edmonton and area since 1977. Visit wjcools.com today.
The Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game, the Daily Grand, or just looking for a little fun, use the promo code SUMMER to get a free 50 casino play at PlayAlberta.ca. The MLB is back tonight after, of course, the All-Star break, which could be called the American League winning, which happens all the time. The Jays are hosting the Detroit Tigers, if you're interested, but really what's starting tonight, man, the race for the wild card in the NL is going to be fantastic. We mentioned it. These are all the teams. And so this would be the second and third wild card spots up for grabs. St. Louis currently is at the top. They're at 50 wins. Then you have the Mets, Diamondbacks, 49 wins. The Padres have 50 wins, but they played more games. They have 49 losses. Pirates, Reds, Giants, Cubbies. They're all within 3 wins of one another. It's outstanding. 8 teams for only 2 playoff spots. It's going to be a great race. A great race. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. And there's no race. You don't have to hurry, but if you want to work for a great company, with great values, good benefits, and huge sports fans, go to Indy.com and look up GS Construction as Mark Spector joins us. Spec, your Cubbies. Now, they're obviously the longest shot to be there, but they're not totally out of it, having been only 3 wins behind the Cards and the Padres.
I fully expect my Cubs to sneak up and steal the berth from Jack Cooks and San Francisco Giants. That's really the most important thing here. Of course, anyone who doesn't know Jack, he's been around town a long time, and he's a huge Giants fan, and we're going to smoke him here. I'm a big Cubs fan. I'm not really sure how good they are, Jay. I'm not sure they're that good, are they?
No. Well, I don't know. They're not that great, but you know what? None of those teams are that good right now. Like, they're all just hovering around 500. So 50 and 49, 50 and 48, 49 and 48, 49 and 46. So right. They're not like the Cubbies, as I said, out of those 8 teams, they have the worst record. But again, it's only 3 fewer wins than the team ahead of them. So
that just means they've been saving it, Jay. They've been saving it.
Yeah. And I got ahead of myself, Spec. They don't play till tomorrow. All the
they don't. There's no games tonight.
No games tonight. Still, it's not till the night. For some reason, I thought today was the 19th, but obviously I'm wrong.
That's okay.
So, there you go. Jeff Jackson came out earlier and said, "I don't want to be the GM." Right? He's made that very clear from the get-go because of the commitment to be there every day and his family commitment and everything, and he just didn't want the role. So I totally understand it. I know Sheldon Kennedy came out today, and he's been working with Stan Bowman, and he gave him an endorsement to get back in the league, and that's fine. I have no problem with it. But I don't believe that Bowman deserves to get the most cushy job around, and I don't think it would be a right decision for the Oilers. Where do you come out on Bowman?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of size to this. Is Bowman? Let's talk first of all about competent general managers and guys who can get the job done, and the best man for the job. He fits into that category. I'm not here to tell you he is the best man, but he's right there. He's built Stanley Cup winners, and more so, he dealt with a Chicago team that had to, that had a lot of high-priced guys, won a cup, rebuilt, won another cup, rebuilt, won another cup. So, in that respect, find me a guy that has more experience at what the Oilers are walking into here, which is losing some guys after every cup year and finding the right guys and rebuild it again. So I would argue, Jay, that let's leave the other stuff. Let's talk about that. But if we're just talking about is he the right man for the job, I would say to you, how many other guys are as experienced at winning a cup and then rebuilding and winning another cup as Stan Bowman is?
Yeah, potentially. I like he had a lot to do. He kind of helped not rebuild. He retooled a little bit of the team after he had really nothing to do with the first cup. He made like one minor trade that year, right? Like their guys were there.
Right.
So the 10
but then they had to divest themselves of a bunch of guys. They won their first cup in 11,
10,
right?
2010.
10. Yeah. 11 was the Vancouver year when they played Boston. They won a cup in 10. They lost a bunch of guys in 11 and won it again in 12, and then lost a bunch of guys and won it again in 14. Isn't that how it went?
No, they won 13 and 15. The Kings won 12 and 14.
Won 12 and 14. Okay. Anyway, you know what I'm saying is the point. My years are bad, but my facts are they won. They had to they lost guys and rebuilt and won again. And look, the Oilers are just trying to win their first one here. So let's get that straight. They're not the Blackhawks. But I can see a future where they have to operate like the Blackhawks operated, and like the guy or don't like the guy, Bowman did a pretty good job at it in Chicago.
Yeah, no, I don't, a while ago for sure. And I guess I don't know. I just don't see why the organization would have to go down that path. Sheldon Kennedy can give his blessing. I understand all of that, but and that's great.
Blessing.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty good blessing, but that doesn't change the fact that they gave Aldrich a letter. And this is the guy who went on to assault other kids. It's not the Keefe thing. I think the Keefe thing, you know what? That's not even the biggest issue for me. It's the fact that they tried to just be like, hey, and write a letter. And now this guy gets an opportunity to go elsewhere, right? And I don't know if you go read the story about Minnesota team. And they're like, had we known it, we never would have had this guy around us. But people will lie and they cover up stuff. And like, that's a big cover up to ruin some kid's life, to say, well, geez, he deserves. I'm like, he can get a second chance. I just don't think it'd be for the best GM job in the league. And and to be honest, I don't think his first job back in the league should be as a GM. I think you got to work your way back to earn that.
Well, that's fair. I think we'll all look at it differently. I can hear you on that, Jay. I can hear you on that. I am not a cancel culture guy.
Yeah, that's not cancel culture, though. That's a significant error.
Well, it is, but I don't think, I think if he goes through the proper steps, and I'm aware, I read a piece that frankly never ran that Sportsnet did. He's taken a lot of steps. He's done a lot of introspection. He's done everything you can do. Put it that way.
Yep.
And now that Sheldon Kennedy, right? Nobody knows about abuse in hockey more than Sheldon Kennedy. If Sheldon Kennedy tells me this guy's ticked his boxes, he's done his work, he's done his due diligence, he's put the time in, he's gone to the right places, he's made the right moves. If Sheldon Kennedy tells me that, I don't think I need to look a lot further. So we can quibble, what should the job be, and should it be this job, and should he go there? But I'm here to tell you that you can't just say the guy should never work again the rest of his life.
No, I never said that.
No, I'm not saying you said that, but a lot of people are. And he's made his mistakes, and we know what they are. But he's also spent, 3 years really digging in on trying to right those mistakes the best you can. And to me, in a city that welcomed back Craig McTavish after a very bad mistake and he turned into a pillar of our community, I think we should remember things like that.
Yeah, no. Hey, I have no problem about the second chance. I guess to me, I don't think it should be here. That's all for the push, the plumber's job right now in the NHL. And I think as an organization, you can always talk about certain things. You can say, hey, we wish him the best, but he's not our guy. And there's nothing wrong with that. And away we go. So we'll see it.
Well, we may be talking about that because, we have heard rumors that he might be the guy, It's taken a long time, but I'll tell you what I haven't heard yet is that he's not going to be the guy. So
that's fair.
Let's see, right? Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So, and I guess I'll be very open and honest about it. It is the thing I think our society makes zero progress on. And I'd like to know, ever go and talk to the family and did talk to the boy who got abused by Eldridge? That would be my number one thing. Because if he didn't do that, then I don't care all the other work he did. He never went to somebody who was a direct victim of his mistake. And to me, if that never happened, then I'm sorry. There's zero chance it should ever even be considered. But anyway, that's just my view on it. And we'll have different views.
Jay.
So
that's fair. I assume you're not a member of the Catholic Church then.
Spec, you know what?
They kind of lead the league in this thing, don't they?
Well, I grew up Catholic, and there's lots of things I don't like about it. 100%. I don't go to Catholic church anymore. And if that's what you're asking, I read a lot of books, lots of different things. But hey, we can get a whole thing about religious fanaticism out there, and all those things they try to purport. And now you got morons wearing bandages on their ear like it's some sort of great thing. Like, give me a break. But The green and gold, we have Jarius Jackson tomorrow night. First opportunity as a head coach. Now, it's a little bit different. You know, like Chris Knobloch, Paul Coffey, they came right in, right? Different guys, and they did make some changes. You think we're going to see anything significant here from Jackson? Different to Jones?
It's hard to – football is so much more complex, and it's a short week, right? And it's a short week. Trying to install, you're not installing a new playbook. I think we're all going to agree on that. Are there, and he was already offensive coordinator. So I guess I want to say to you, Jay, I think he already was doing what he wanted to do with the offense, wasn't he? Unless there's something we don't know. I don't know that Chris Jones was sort of standing over Jarius Jackson's shoulder and telling him how to run his offense. If that's the case, maybe we will see something different. But I'm going to give everyone the benefit of the doubt that this was Jarius Jackson's offense already, and he was allowed to run it as well as, however he wanted. So if that's the case, why would he change what he likes to do already? You know what I'm saying here? I don't think we'll see a lot of changes. What do you think?
It's a good question. You're probably, well, I do wonder, their running game is non-existent. And it's the one, like, Bethel Thompson is averaging 37 pass attempts per game. When Trey Ford and the Elks went 4-6. Now, he didn't pass. He was averaging 22 passes a game, right? Clearly, maybe not as good of a passer. But their combined total offense between passing and rushing yards was basically the same, 360 per game, is what they're doing right now. Because right now, they're passing 299 yards per game, and they're rushing for like 65. Right? It's basically the same. But the defense doesn't really have to worry about the threat of running at all right now. And so, Bethel Thompson puts up more yards, but they don't put up any damn wins. And so to me, I get that it's a passing league, but you got to have a semblance of a running attack. And right now there is zero threat of a running game at all. And there's zero creativity in where they're running.
No, I agree. And I guess the only hole in your stat that I'll ask you about is, how many of those runs were because Trey Ford just tucks the ball and starts running all over the place and ends up running? He gives up on the pass.
Kevin Brown ran for 800 yards himself in 10 games.
Yeah,
he was their lead running back. He was their lead guy. Like Trey Ford had one or two big games, but there was lots of games where Trey Ford rushed for 40 or 50 yards, right? Like averaging 6-7 yards a carry, which is fine. Right. I don't have a problem with a quarterback who can scramble a little bit, but he was still passing over 3 times as many yards as he was rushing per game.
Well, and Kevin Brown, we saw in the first half of that Ottawa game the other night, I thought not only does he run, like a halfback's supposed to run, he's elusive, but he also runs hard. He runs over guys, and like he takes care of the ball. I guess I would say to you, Jay, maybe identify that player and get the ball in his hands more, and maybe those are running plays. Maybe those are passes in the flat, right? Maybe those are screen passes. Maybe those are use them as a safety valve if your primary receiver's not open. But I think that there should be a way, whether it be just handing them the ball. Number 4's got to be a bigger part of this offense because he's a pretty good player.
100%, yeah. I agree.
So that's on Jarius Jackson, 1,000%. He's running this offense. We just watched a game where TSN ISO'd Geno Lewis the first half of the game. The guy couldn't believe how they weren't giving him the ball. Then they started giving it to him, and he was completely productive and awesome,
dude,
and making great plays.
Yeah.
So if two sports writers are sitting on the radio spotting this, you would think that the paid professional coaches would be able to identify this as well, wouldn't you?
No, I mean, I was saying it all year long. I'm like, I don't understand this, because if you were throwing to him and he wasn't catching it, that's one thing. But he didn't have one pass even thrown his direction until 5 minutes left in the third quarter. I'm like, what is going on? And that's happened far too often this year. So, and that to me, hey, maybe we'll see. About, Jarius Jackson. I don't know. Maybe there's something Jones is saying as a coach. We'll find out. Like, there's assistant coaches and coordinators who, you're on the same page, but you'd still call the game different. And then defensively is the big one for me now with Jones out. And I know that, they have a DC, but Jones being the defensive guy, I think he would still be more involved in the defensive calls than he would the offensive calls. So the bigger changes might come on defense, and that's where they need more improvement anyway.
Well, so this is your question. Like, I think we both feel like they have personnel on offense. I don't know about their offensive line. It looks to me like Bethel Thompson gets enough time to make his reads, but I'm not positive how much they like their offensive line. I can't tell you how great they are. I don't know. But I will say this, it doesn't appear they have the defense. Like, I'm not sure they have the personnel. So if Chris Jones, his defense was giving up 30 points a night all season long here. So is it a scheme problem, Jason? Is it a personnel problem? Because if it's a personnel problem, you're not fixing it in a week, right? You got to spend some time and do some scouting, and they got to get the GM's got to get to work here. So that would be my question. If you don't have the personnel, I don't care what your scheme is, you're not going to win. And that they won't win games unless they get some defensive play here, unless that defense steps up, because it's been we argue about who's going to play quarterback. We all agree here. By far the biggest issue this team has is on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no question about it. Spec, enjoy your rehearsal tonight.
Yeah, thanks. Big wedding rehearsal.
Who's getting married?
My son Jason, his lovely fiancee Mary.
Oh,
and Mario Krenik, nice Ukrainian girl.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Do you have to make do you and Shelka have to make a speech?
We will at the wedding make a speech, probably have a little something to say at the rehearsal dinner afterwards tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, nice. You better
you think the only place I talk's on your show,
well,
pal?
I was just going to say, if you're making a speech, you better write it down.
Yeah, I was actually writing it down this afternoon, as a matter of fact. Hey, buddy. You know what? We're going to do our best here. And,
that'll
it's
be
going to
fun.
be a great weekend.
Oh.
I'm sitting in my truck. It says 37 degrees right now out here. So it's just I'm wearing a suit here, a jacket. So that's awesome.
Oh, buddy. Yeah. Well, yeah. Hopefully got one of those built-in little fans now that you turn it on and it sprays water at you and keeps you cool.
Oh, man. This church better have AC or I'm walking.
Have a good one, Spec.
All right, Jay.
There you go. Big weekend for the Specters. I like it. Woo. And it'll be hot. Oh, my goodness. They're hoping that's a quick, now here's the ceremonies in the church. It's fine. But think about pictures on the wedding day in what's it supposed to be, 34 on Saturday? Guys are all in the penguin suit, most likely. You're wearing the black. You'd be in there. How many of you have been in pictures, wedding day pictures? And because, women are super hot too, don't get me wrong. But they're not, very rarely are they wearing all black dresses, right? So they got some color. Usually, you know what? The air can flow through it a little bit better. Your guys out there, your pictures, and it's like the worst for the groom because the groomsmen, you only have to do some pictures, right? But then it's like the bride and the groom, they do tons of them and they got the parents, siblings, and everybody. Oh, and you better have a good camera person because you are sweating bullets in the black suit on a Saturday. So good luck. Good luck. And a good wedding party, you bring a cooler and you bring a lot of ice. For sure. 521. We got a lot of text to get to on the orders GM search. And I'm curious via text or phone, it's the same number, 833-401-1440. What's your thoughts? Would you hire Bowman? Would you not? Why or why not? 833-401-1440.
The cheesy burger pizza.
See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Albatross Roofing and Construction is hiring experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers in Edmonton. Must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy top wages, benefits, and career growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Join their expert team today.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Some people see their RV as a way to travel the countryside and explore the great outdoors. For others, it's more like a summer cottage. Sure, it's got wheels, but that doesn't mean that you have to roll it around all the time. And I know someone who uses his RV exactly like this. It's Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Hey, Rick, when was the last time you hooked up your trailer and took it somewhere?
Been years, Bob.
You just leave it in one place?
Well, you have to see our campsite. It's near Seba Beach. There's lots of privacy. It's a heavily wooded area, but very close to the lake, with full water and electrical hookup. So my wife, Deanna, and I enjoy cottage life with all its beauty and all the comforts of home.
And the RV you use as a cottage, did you buy it new?
Bob, what are you, nuts? I can happily find you an RV as nice as mine. Got dozens of them on the lot right now. And Deanna and I are living proof that you don't have to pay new RV prices to live the dream.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
To the bug. To the bug. To the bug. To the bug.
You put the boom boom into my heart. You send my toes sky high when your loving thoughts. To the bug into my brain. Goes to bang 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 till my beat to the same. Something something ain't right. My best friend told me what you did last night. Let me sleep in my bed. I was dreaming about should have never been instead. Wake me up before you go. Don't leave me hanging up like a yo-yo. Wake me up before you go. I don't want to miss it and live that high. Wake me up before you go.
Not do it. Simply don't do it. All right, let's get to our Olympic report brought to you by VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Of course, they are Canada's #1 Volvo dealership located right here in the city of Champions. And hey, their midsummer event has begun where you can lease a Volvo 2024 XC90 from 0% financing right now at VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. And our next guest, he is the youngest member of Canada's Paralympic swimming team. He actually set a Canadian record earlier this year when he qualified for Paris in 2024. From St. Albert, Reed Maxwell joins us. Reed, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm excellent, Reed. And so, Reed, for anybody out there listening, Reed actually just lives literally like a half a block away from our house. And so we've lived there for 8 years. And so I remember seeing a young Reed Maxwell wheeling around on his BMX bike. And right from a young age, Reed, like your disability was never, not having, you have from the knee down, you have a artificial leg. It's never seemed to stop you right from the get-go in any sort of athletic endeavors that you did.
Yeah, no, it's always just been something you deal with, but I never tried to let it stop me from doing what I wanted to do. So
now, when did you get into swimming?
I've been swimming, I want to say 10 or 11 years now. Like I started when I was really young.
Okay.
I kind of got thrown into it because my dad and my uncle both swam.
Okay.
And they put my sister into swimming, and then I got thrown into swimming too. And I guess it kind of just clicked.
Yeah, well, definitely. Now, so you were born missing your lower right leg. You also have prune belly syndrome, which is a partial or complete absence of stomach muscles. So how do you swim without, a lot of stomach muscles? How does that work?
You kind of make adaptations, but my back compensates for a lot of it.
Okay.
And then I don't really know. It's just kind of somehow works.
Yeah. Well, so obviously, you compensate one thing, you do a lot of back and stuff. Now you've also, it's funny. The other day I saw you, I didn't recognize you, to be honest. Just be like you've really, sprouted up and, you leaned out and you're just like, now you have a real swimmer's body. And obviously, like you said, you've been swimming for 10 years, but when did you kind of start thinking like, okay, this is something that I can kind of take maybe more seriously?
It probably would have been just after COVID.
Okay.
Because I'd taken a little bit of a break during COVID because nothing was open. And then I kind of got back into it, and I ended up going to the Nationals that year and Canada Games, and it just kind of snowballed after that, I guess.
Yeah. Now, did you not play football when you were younger?
I did play football for a bit. I was kind of just trying out different sports and seeing if I liked anything else, and it didn't really end up working out. But
what was the biggest challenge for you when you tried out for football?
I don't really know. I've never been much of a runner.
Oh, okay.
And which I guess is why swimming works really well.
So you're just like, you know what? I'm not a great runner. Okay, fair.
No, and it's just kind of, it wasn't really my thing. Like, I don't know, there was too much, I don't really know how to describe it, but it just, I don't do a lot of team sports, and I don't know, it just wasn't really my thing.
No, it's funny you mentioned that, because we were talking about that at the start of the show, how some people are just geared, they're better in individual sports, some are better in team sports, and vice versa. And, you got to play both, I think, to figure out which one suits you. Now you're part of a swimming team, so you're obviously a little bit part of a team now, but what is it about the individual sport that works well with your personality?
I don't know. I'm very competitive, so swimming works really well. Like, you can see the people that you're racing next to you, and if they're going ahead of you, you're going to go and you're going to chase them down. So that's always worked with me. And then with the team, it was kind of like I didn't really have another person to straight motivate me.
Okay.
Because you have a whole other team and you have your team that's kind of working with you. And I don't know, it just never really worked out.
Now, you're the young Reed Maxwell joins us. He's the youngest member of the swim team at the Paralympics for Canada. You broke 5 Canadian records at the 2024 Paralympic swimming trials, and you got the A standard in the S8 400 meter and the 100 meter backstroke. So you qualify for both of those at 16 years of age. And then you also lowered the national marks in the 100 meter freestyle, the butterfly, and the 200 individual medley. Is the 400 meter freestyle or the 100, are those your best races, and are they your favorite races?
400 free is definitely like my bread and butter. It's always been kind of my specialty. I really like 400 free. And then 100 back, like, it's been more of a recent event that I've been picking up, and I I'm enjoying it because it's a little bit different from 400 free. It's much more sprinty. So yeah, like honestly, I like all of my events, but 400 free is definitely my top.
So I know you're going to Toronto here next week to train. Like you're still in high school, Reed. So you're going to Toronto. Then you head out in August to Paris for the Paralympics, and then you come back and you got to go back to high school, which is kind of crazy. How is kind of this summer being wrapping your head around the fact that you're going to the Olympics?
It's been a little bit surreal. It's like slowly starting to I'm slowly starting to realize that it's actually real. I'm sure I won't like get the full impact of it until I like land and I'm there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been a very strange summer wrapping my head around it, I guess.
And is it difficult being so young? Like, because I look at the rest of you got a lot of mentors, so maybe that's a good thing. But being on the national swim team, qualifying for at 16 years of age, I know Penny Alexiak did it a few years ago for Canada, but I don't care if you're in the Paralympics, you're an Olympian. Like 16 in the Olympics is hard to do. Is it? How do you not get overwhelmed by it? Who's helping you in that regard?
Honestly, it kind of motivates you a bit more. You kind of you see these people that are older than you doing the same kind of stuff, and you kind of chase, and you try and same thing with that competitive thing. Like you try and beat them. And then honestly, once you're there, everyone's just an athlete. Like it doesn't really come down to age.
Yeah. Okay.
So everyone's just kind of performing and they're all going for their best performance. And I don't know.
At 16, you've got so much room to grow. You haven't reached your peak by any stretch of the imagination. And just in the last few years, what do you feel has led to such a big improvement for you?
I've got a lot of support. Like I've got my coach, my friends, my family, all that. They're super supportive. And I think that's been kind of motivating me to just train harder, go faster. So yeah, that's just been getting, the past couple of years have been a lot of development, and I guess they've been helping a lot with me getting faster.
So outside of swimming, how often are you in the gym? How do you get better at swimming?
It's a lot of training. I train right now 9 times a week.
How many hours?
They're 2-hour sessions, and then we've got weights Tuesday, Thursdays, which are another 1-hour session.
So your weights are Tuesday, Thursdays. You're swimming for basically 18 hours a week?
Yeah.
So can you kind of maybe take us inside? So when you're swimming, is it you're not just swimming lengths for 2 hours straight, I would assume, right? There's some technical stuff. So as you improve your stroke in freestyle, what's been the big emphasis? How do you improve your stroke to be better and shave off those hundreds of a second that you want to shave off?
It's a lot of technique stuff. So just perfecting your stroke, perfecting the catch part of your stroke, your recovery, all that. And then turns and starts, you can take up a lot of time on. And even just pushing off the wall, you can shave off tenths of a second, hundredths of a second, seconds, I guess, depending on where you're at, and perfecting all of that. And then even just the strength aspect, getting stronger will make you faster.
All right.
So it's kind of just a combination of all of them that slowly let you shave off time, get you faster, get you stronger.
So for swimmers, as Reed Maxwell joins us, a 16-year-old from St. Albert, qualified, set 5 Canadian records at the 2024 Paralympic swimming trials here in Canada, and is going to the Paralympic Games in the 400-meter freestyle and the 100-meter backstroke. What are the best training workouts to improve strength for swimmers? Is it majority legs, or I've got to think your shoulders got to be heavily involved?
It's a lot of upper body. Especially for me, I'm a very upper body oriented swimmer.
Okay.
Some people have a much more lower body oriented stroke.
Right.
It kind of goes person to person, but I'm definitely a lot of upper body. So
and
I don't know. I like pull sets. Other people like pick sets.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Reed, part of my ignorance here, but what qualifies you for like S8? I know there's all different. What does S8 stand for?
So essentially, the S numbers are your classification. It kind of goes with your level of disability, I suppose.
Okay.
And when you get classified, it's kind of they do a point system. I don't quite know how that works or anything, or how like the totals add up.
Okay.
But they do like an evaluation of you on land and in the water. And they just kind of, I guess, evaluate, and they do some point calculation, and then they give you your classification.
And it wouldn't like as you become a better swimmer, it doesn't change. You're always S8, or can that change?
So it generally only changes if something changes with your disability.
Okay.
So I shouldn't be changing much, but some people that have like a more degenerative disability could jump from like an S7 to an S6 or vice versa. And they could jump around the board a lot more, but I should be pretty much where I'm going to stay.
Now, Paul Birmingham, the Australian coach, right? He coaches you at the Edmonton Piano Club. Is that correct?
Yep.
So he's your main guy. So when you go to Toronto next week, so tell us about what's in Toronto. Is that with the entire Canadian Paralympic team, or is it with your coach? And I'm assuming he goes with you. What's kind of on tap for next week?
So next week for me is kind of just a training meet, essentially. Like I'm not going to be tapering down for this meet. But I'm going with my home team. So Kiana will be going to that meet.
Okay.
Some of the other Paralympic team, I believe, is going too. Some aren't. But yeah, we'll just be kind of going. I'm treating it more of a training meet and just kind of getting more opportunity to race. So yeah, I'll be there. I won't be tapered down. I'll be doing a bit longer warm-ups and cool-downs just to kind of keep my meters up.
And then give us, because the Paralympics, it starts in I guess kind of middle of August. Do you know when's your first race? Do you know the date?
I did know the date. I do not remember it all of a sudden, but it's mid to late August, and it's going to be a very long meet, but I think it'll be very fun.
Oh, well, yeah, it's the Olympics. But when you're there, are you able to, like, between your races, are you able to go out of the athletes village, or no? Once you're in the athletes village, you just stay in the athletes village until you leave permanently? You can't come and go? How does that work?
Pretty much once you're in the village, you're in the village. They don't want you to leave the village just for kind of safe sport stuff.
Okay.
Like there's a whole bunch of issues that could happen if you leave the village. So they try and keep you safe in the village. And once you're done racing, you can leave. But yeah.
Well, Reed, congratulations. It's really kind of been a meteoric rise for you in swimming to get to this level, breaking 5 Canadian records. The youngest member, I think the youngest member ever for a Canadian Paralympic swim team, 16 years of age. Congratulations on that. Enjoy the next month. It's going to be unbelievable and likely to be your first of many Olympic Games.
Thank you so much.
That is Reed Maxwell, of course, from St. Albert, Paralympian in swimming. He broke 5 Canadian records, and he's going to swim in 2 events at the Paralympic Games, the 400-meter freestyle and the 100-meter backstroke, and probably a really good chance in 4 years' time that you'll see him swimming in even more. I read a lot of stories about him online and about swimming people. Obviously, I've seen him in our neighborhood many years. Like, honestly, the first time I saw Reed, he was riding a BMX bike, and I didn't even notice that he was missing, his right leg. I didn't even. I was watching him. He's going over all these jumps, and I'm like, "Oh, well, that guy's pretty good on his bike." And then when he got off, right, he has an artificial leg, and I'm just like, "What?" I thought it was awesome, to be honest. Right, the fact that he tried football, his family is just they've never looked at his disability as something that stops him from trying different sports. And like he said, he goes, "Hey, I'm more of an individual sport guy," but obviously it's worked well, and so it's a great story. The youngest ever. Right from St. Albert. So fantastic to read, and best of luck coming up the Olympics. Of Quick break. We'll return. We got a lot of texts, a lot of you with opinions on swimming, as well as where you stand on the orders and their GM hire on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Hey, Elks fans!
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The Bricks Big Block Party is back with incredible pricing on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all-beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Flying right through the week. Of course, I thought it was Friday because I mentioned that the MLB was back, but it's not. So that's a big error, big fail on my part. The MLB returns tomorrow, actual Friday. Today. Well, actually, for some reason, I thought today was the 19th, but it's not. It's only the 18th. Tomorrow, though, is indeed the 19th. 833-401-1440 in our eWell inbox. EWEL.ca, your partner in power. Hey, Gregor, great interview with Reed. Can't believe he's only 16. Sounds so mature. On another note, when a team like the Elks play in Ottawa, do they fly out the day before the game, then fly back Edmonton the same night, or do they fly back the day after? Thanks from JC. Well, they play Friday. A lot now. they would have flown at least today. Some teams will fly out even earlier. They probably flew out on Wednesday, actually, I would think. I think they changed that a few years ago. Now, when the game ends, usually they would, well, it depends. It depends from year to year. Depends on who's in charge, on do they want the extra hotel room, when's their next game, right? All those things play into. I would guess they're flying home after the game because you gain the 2 hours, right? So if you leave Toronto at midnight, you get into Edmonton at 2 a.m. And they might leave even earlier than that. So I would guess that's what they do. Right? And then they get the day off tomorrow, maybe the day off after that, because the Elks, their next game is what well, I know they got the 28th or the 26th. Is that their next game? Yeah. So next Friday. So yeah, I would think they don't play till next Sunday. So yeah, they'd probably fly home because then they can just get home quicker and then have probably Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday off, depending. So usually they do a walkthrough, I should say, the next day, but nothing like significant. Hey guys, I'm all for second chances, but similar to do, before I'd even consider Bowman, I'd want to know that he's at least met with Beach and all the other victims, feel he's properly apologized and done the work to learn. However, even if he did, I still wouldn't hire him because the Oilers don't need this distraction going into another season. Bit of a different situation, but you'd hope the organization would have learned from the backlash from bringing in Virtanen a couple of years ago from Hampton Steve. No Bowman, please. Said they head after the fact and let him molest other kids after they knew what he did while he worked for them. He was part of it, regardless of what he said, to whom and to when. Dale in the Berg. Guys, some things are unforgivable. Abusing power in a leadership position, especially due to sexual assault, falls into that category. He can go work in a position where he doesn't get to be the GM right away. I will make walking away from this team very public if they hire him from Playbook Vic. My question to me for you guys would be, is it worth it? Is he clearly that much better than everyone else? Especially as Gregor alluded to, this is a really good position to inherit. Do you need some guy with a boatload of experience? Or can't they hire a Stan Bowman of 2010? Gregor, I thought you said he really didn't have much to do with their first championship. That one comes in from Derek. Derek, you know what? Fair point. Right, when Stan Bowman took over the Blackhawks the year before, right, in the summer of 2009, they'd been to the Final Four. All their core pieces were in place. He made, and I can't remember the trade. I'd have to go back and look. I looked it up before and I've forgotten it right now, but it wasn't a significant deal the first year, right? He was just kind of there, and so it gets credit as being the GM of the team. Didn't really do a lot. And that's not a knock because he did a lot for 13 and 15. I'm not taking anything away from what he did. But I think it's a fair point to say the person that comes in here just, in a way, just don't get in the way and don't screw it up. This is not the team where you needed a guy like Ken Holland who had a boatload of experience. The Oilers, as bad as they were, had no cap space. Think about that. They had no cap space after missing the playoffs 12 of 13 previous seasons. That's the team Ken Holland inherited. The team that this GM inherits just lost in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final. They played the second most playoff games the last 3 years in the NHL. They're a really good team. They've got Connor McDavid in his prime, Leon Draisaitl in his prime, Evan Bouchard coming into it, lots of Hyman, go down the list. They got a really good team. Look at their top nine. It's the best top nine they've ever had on paper in the last 30 years. So yeah, I don't know if you need some guy with a boatload of experience. I don't really see why. You just don't want to screw it up. And Jeff Jackson, along with the help of Keith Gretzky and Bill Scott and Brad Holland, have, I think, shown that, they know what to do too. So be a good collaborative team effort. So I say no to Bowman. The Oilers don't need a big name at GM. What would he bring here? We made some good moves. Got a good management group. Isn't going to add that much more. Players want to play here. The only thing he would bring is baggage and unneeded conversation, whether it's the right decision to have him or not. He's not necessary for our group. That one comes from Mike. Hey, guys, I think Keith Gretzky is the only right hire, in my opinion. Well, you can make it. Hey, he's put in his time. There's no question about that. Right? He was in Boston he's had success. He's drafted. Like, he's worked it all day. He's on the amateur side. He's on the professional side. He's checked a lot of the boxes. There's no question about that. If they hired him, I don't see. I saw some people say it's old boys club. I'm like, what? How is that an old boys club? That's somebody who came from a different organization and worked his way up. That's not remotely the old boys club, in my opinion. So we'll see. Hey, Gregor, your guest, Reed. He does more exercise in a week than I do in 2 months from Jordan. Well, hey, I guess he's not a professional athlete in the sense, but you're an Olympian, which is kind of like, I know it's not officially, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's good. Declan was telling me that he was a swimmer, and he used to swim like their swimming was like 3 hours a day, every day, which that just blows my mind. Like, and he said, I was burnt out at 14. I'm like, oh, shocking. Right? Like, Deck, looking back on it, you realize, like, to never give, I don't care what you do. People have a job. They still get 2 days off a week.
Yeah. I mean, in hindsight, gave me a great skill set for life, taught me a lot of discipline, things like that, a lot of things I really appreciate. But I was a 14, like I made this point to you during the break as well. I was a 14-year-old kid when I quit swimming. In the 12, 13 years since then, I've been in a pool maybe 6 times. Like, what I had to do day in, day out. It was 3 hours. It was 3 hours a session, 8 times a week at 14 years old. Mornings, nights, dry lands, in the pool, whatever it was. And it was so restrictive. It was so, like I said, burnt me out to a degree that I clearly haven't been able to recover from, based on the fact that I've never been back in a pool. Did a lot for me, but not the way you want to go about it if you're a young athlete, for sure.
To do something like that, like, obviously there was a point where you loved it.
Well, here's the crazy thing. I never went to my parents and said, listen, I want to be a swimmer. My parents came to me and said, you're going to be a swimmer now.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So I listen, the sport taught me a lot of great things. I was very successful at it for my age. I was a nationally ranked swimmer. I appreciate that I had all that for me, but looking back, if I could do it all over again, would I still do it? I don't know if I would, because it was a pretty restrictive part of my childhood and left a bad impression on me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Totally. So don't put too much too soon on kids. That would be my takeaway from that one. Have yourselves a great evening, everyone. I'm Jason Gregor on behalf of Declan Kruger. Go to jasongregor.com if you missed any part of the show, or anywhere where you get your podcasts, and you can rewatch the show on YouTube at Oilers Nation, if you wish. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change, no overtime charge. If all of a sudden your AC unit conks out and you need it, call Legacy. They'll come in, no overtime charges. LegacyHeating.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start with the Open Championship. Daniel Brown currently leading the field after day one, sitting at 6 under par. Shane Lowry at 5 under in second position, and Justin Thomas, the lone man, at 3 under, sits at third. Canadian Mackenzie Hughes tied for fourth at 2 under. The next highest ranked Canadian after day one is Corey Connors, who sits even through the day. Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor round out the rest of the Canadians in the top 100, sitting at 4 over par, both tied for 82nd. In case you missed it, the Clippers and Jazz have agreed to a sign-and-trade deal involving Russell Westbrook, who is expected to be waived and then join the Denver Nuggets. News out of the NFL world, as Washington Commanders president Jason Wright will be out after this season. Wright, who was the first black team president in NFL history, will no longer serve in the role and will leave the club after this season, according to a team spokesperson. He will serve as a senior advisor until his departure. News in the hockey world is Rourke Chartier, who played 37 games with the Sens last season, is joining Kunlun Red Star of the KHL on a 1-year contract. Other KHL news, Maxime Courtois will be joining Dynamo Moscow of the league. The 25-year-old played for the AHL Chicago Wolves last season, scoring 19 goals, 20 and having 25 assists over a 65-game span. The Carolina Hurricanes have re-signed forward Jack Drury, inking the restricted free agent on a 2-year contract worth $3.45 million. And a final piece of news in the hockey world, the Toronto Maple Leafs have hired Mark Leach of their director of amateur scouting, according to the club. That is going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Turn Sports is up next. Fox Sports Radio will be on at 9. We'll return with Brandon Douglas and Kevin Carius on the Kevin Carius Show tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free